Welcome to a place for those in search of truth and conviction, a place where we discuss culture, politics, philosophy, and everything in between. I'm Luke, and I'm here with Russ. This is Hardly, Strictly Politics.
Hell yes, dear listener, the HSP boys are back in the saddle once again for episode number 35. Thank you so much for jumping in the saddle with us. We're going for a brief intro this week, so let's just blaze the basics. 2 separate continents, 2 separate countries, 2 separate adult beverages, just to make it fair, and 2 separate cups of coffee. 2 separate fact shamings, a term coined right here by the HSP boys that seems to be making the rounds of late. 2 separate trails to the same inevitable terminus. 35. 35 is a really interesting number, dear listener. Halfway from 30 to 40. Perfect divisibility into 2 prime numbers, which are 5 and 7, making it a bi-prime number. 35 millimeter film, which I miss so terribly. There's nothing like 35 millimeter film. 35 years minimum to run for president. 35 miles on this trail right here today, so let's not tarry. Let's saddle up and ride into episode number 35, which is in the house, presently. Find us on Facebook at Zero Gravity Med. Same thing on Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. And you can always find us right here in our own house. Send us email at feedback@zero-gravity-media.com. That's feedback at zero-gravity-media.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and TuneIn, all 3 under Zero Gravity Media. Find us on YouTube. Look for Zero Gravity Media and our Zero G logo. Short snippets will be made great again soon, dear listeners, so watch this space. We're going to knock one out today, as a matter of fact, before we blast HSP number 35. Still, lots of great feedback on our website redesign. Great work, Luke, and dear listener really appreciates it. Our website is zero-gravity-media.com. Right on by and leave us some feedback at the contact form. That's zero-gravity-media.com/contact. As always, dear listeners, send us any articles you may wish to write. We'd be most honored to host you on our website. Now, Luke's done the business this week. Check out his article entitled The Retreat to Complexity. Very well done. Well done, sir. Now, I got some reliable feedback that the intro is getting a little bit too long, so I'm going to chop it off this week, all right? But first of all, we got Brazil in the house this week, so welcome, Rio de Janeiro. But this week is for the regulars, the OGs, the regular trailblazers that are on this trail with us each and every single week. Each and every single week on the trail with us, we got Shreveport, Louisiana, Mesa, Arizona, Roosevelt, Utah, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon on the trail each and every single week. San Francisco, San Jose, Sacramento, Redding, Bellflower, and Los Angeles, California on the trail each and every single week. Each and every single week, we got Dallas, Arlington, Houston, The Woodlands, College Station, Galveston, Rowlett, San Antonio, Texas, every single week. Auburn, Alabama, Miami, and Palm Beach, Florida on the trail. Tazewell, Tennessee, and Nashville. Now, sorry about that hockey game yesterday, Predators fans. Y'all are a worthwhile opponent. Much respect. May the best team win, which is, of course, the Dallas Stars. Just kidding. This is a fun series, so let's enjoy it. Let's drink some beer, let's hang out together, and have a good time. And by the way, Dallas Stars fans in Bridgestone Arena yesterday, way to put out. Y'all were numerous and loud, and it actually came through the broadcast, so way to throw down.
Did you say it was the Sexual Predators that was playing?
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, man. Just kidding, Tennessee. Come on, just trying to have some fun. Each and every single week, we got Ashburn, Virginia Beach, West Point, and Richmond in the house. D.C. each and every single week, bigly. We are bigly in D.C., dear listener. How's it going, Mr. President? Great week. Great 2 weeks, as a matter of fact. New York on the trail each and every single week, and bigly. Boston, bigly, each and every single week. Each and every single week, we got Tunbridge Wells and London on the trail. Manchester on the trail. Colluding with Moscow each and every single week. Warsaw, Budapest. Rather incredibly, each and every single week, we got Da Nang, Vietnam. Welcome,
Dick.
Da Nang. Da
Mr.
Nang Dick in the house.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, indeed, sir. Hong Kong each and every single week. Bangkok, Thailand each and every single week. Sydney and Melbourne each and every single week. Good day, mates. Thank you all so very much, you intrepid regular trailblazers. We love y'all so much. Now, I know I'm going to get shouted down somewhere for being neglectful, all right? My apologies in advance. If you feel dissed, skipped, pooned, or otherwise neglected, dear listeners, send us some feedback at the contact form. I'll set it straight next week with a proper shout out to you. Believe that. Now, Luke and I are recording on Easter Sunday, April 21st. Happy Easter, everybody. Despite this bloodshed on this bloody Sunday in Sri Lanka, man, Christians being targeted, it's absolutely awful. We ride for the victims today. April 21st is also a somber day for fighting Texas Aggies. Today is Aggie Muster, as well as Easter Sunday. So it's double somber and reverent for us fighting Texas Aggies. Happy Muster, Aggies. Aggie Muster also marks the beginning of mine and Luke's journey into politics way back in 2013. So it's special for us personally. So Luke, happy Muster, brother. Let's ride.
Happy
what
Muster,
we got on the
dude.
trail map this week? Yeah, happy Muster, man.
Yeah, we got a nice little show put together for you. We're going to keep it to team short. We think that there is a positive response to keeping the show short, and Russ and I actually kind of like that format better ourselves. So we think we probably got a 2 to 2.5 hour show today. We are going to hit the Sri Lanka. As always, by the way, we are going to hit our black pilling stuff here at the outset of the show, get it knocked out of the way. So on that note, we will cover Sri Lanka first. We will hit the Mueller Report afterwards because it has now been dropped in full, sans the redactions. There is a militia forming on the southern border, one of whom, the leader of which, was arrested. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday, Russ?
It was yesterday, last night, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Then we'll hit Notre Dame, obviously the cathedral burning down. And then we're going to move into some more lighthearted stuff. The WWE, the Wrestling Federation has, I don't even know if it's a federation still. I'm from the WWF days. You know, this WWE stuff is new school. But whatever the case.
Man, I'm from the WCCW days, man. That's this Texas outfit with the Von Erichs, man. That Team Von Erich in the house right here, man.
Yeah. So they have unmasked a new character, which we'll talk about that. And I have to give a shout out. I actually found this out. I was listening to Rucka Ali's and then this other dude, Kirk Wilcox, stream that they did. I have a few different streams that I listen to when I barbecue, and that's one of them. I always listen to Rucka's stuff. His YouTube channel is Rucka Reacts, and they were talking about it there. So that's where I found this out, full disclosure. Then we're going to hit the lifestyle challenge, which I'm so bad, dear listener. I'm like meta failing right now. It's not enough just to fail on the lifestyle challenge, but I'm actually failing at even putting up the post to discuss it. So I'm like 2 posts behind on that. Although I have been doing the lifestyle challenge. I haven't failed there. I've just failed in putting the post up. So I'll try to do that today, and then I'll try to do it here moving forward because we still have a few more chances to hit that. Because I think we're at this marks the beginning of week 4 already. Then we have a special grab bag. A very special grab bag special for you, which is I've been waiting and excited for this to happen, which is the Jordan Peterson Slavoj Žižek debate. And we're probably going to have to keep it cool on the drinking in episode here, 35 here, Russ, because I don't think we're going to be able to pronounce Žižek by the end of the show if we...
Good point.
if we get too carried away. So, in the name of prudence... So we don't have to cut grab bag special out this time in post.
Yeah, right.
And then we got a couple of good break audios for you. We've got Janine Shapiro and
Janine Pirro, not Shapiro.
And then we have Alex Jones's latest gem, which Russ had me in tears. I was sitting at my desk. I was like, "Oh, Alex Jones did a new podcast. This should be good." And I just had it playing like at work, and I got to laughing so hard that I was literally crying. I had to get up and shut my door so nobody would see me laughing and crying so hard at my desk in my office. So and we've got that queued up for you, and we'll be sure to post the link to it as well, so we aren't plagiarizing. Sometimes I feel bad about playing other people's stuff on our show, but I think if we post the links, it serves more of advertisement for other people's stuff, or at least I hope it does. Maybe one day we'll get somebody coming after us about that. But
yeah, it's a proper citation to do it that way. I mean, it's not in any approved format, but we work with what we can do. And if we post links, we cite, you know what I mean? And if you cite, it's not fair use, but it's citation and it's cool,
Yeah.
So yeah.
So anyways, well, let's jump right into it. Russ, did you want me to lay out the facts of Sri Lanka, or is there something else that you wanted? Oh, dude, should we, here at the outset, should we talk about the break last week? Because I think people were like wondering.
Yeah, let's do that. I talked about it a little bit in bots number 6, but like, yeah, man, let's talk about it to the HSP crowd about what's going on here. Team HSP. Yeah, tell them what's up, man.
Yeah, so
we just needed a break. That's it.
That's the long and short of it. I mean, we've been doing this for 10 months. We took a brief hiatus when Russ moved back to Texas from San Francisco, but we have not missed a show in like 7 straight months. And I don't know, it just felt like we needed a break. It was a good break. I think it was well deserved, but no, there was nothing going on. There's no drama involved here. Everything's all good. If there is any drama, it's on my side. Our cat has had, it was the sweetest, coolest cat in the world. I was never even a cat person. I'm a dog person, but this cat came along and, I just like, this cat was just awesome. I'd get home and she would jump up on my chest and she would always sleep on me. And she's just the sweetest cat. She's like a dog cat. You would literally call her and she would just come over and jump in your lap. But she has been dying of cancer for the last like 4 to 5 months. And if you've ever owned a pet, dear listener, that gets cancer and then just slowly withers away over the course of 4 to 5 months, that's what Jessica and I have been dealing with. And we finally had to put her, and it was very emotional because the vet told us she had cancer finally a couple weeks ago. They were trying to find out what it was this whole time. And then they said, bring her in. We need to put her down today. We brought her in. They decided not to put her down. And then we put her on chemotherapy medication, which if you've ever dealt with an animal that has, or a human being for that matter, I mean, chemotherapy is serious. All of the waste becomes toxic. Everything they touch. I mean, the medication, you have to keep it in your refrigerator with all of your food, and you have rubber gloves and masks everywhere. Everything was covered in newspaper.
It's brutal.
And, I think maybe I didn't, I introspected enough to know that like that was very difficult to deal with, but is perhaps maybe a little bit more difficult than even I realized. And so, yeah, that was just a much needed break. And, but our cat passed away on Thursday, I believe it was. So it's finished and, took a deep breath and I'm ready to roll now. So
yeah. F.
Yeah. Press F for Amy, our cat.
Yeah.
Sucks.
F.
But, life goes on. I have a whole new appreciation and respect for caregivers, people who take care of family members with Alzheimer's. I can only imagine how difficult, I can't imagine how difficult that would be if this went on, if this were an actual loved one, an actual human being and a loved one, and it went on for years. I mean, I got but a small taste of what that might be like. And I have a whole new appreciation for anybody that does any kind of work like that, whether it's for a family member or even professionally. This has been huge, a pretty eye-opening experience, Russ.
Yeah, I believe it, man. And man, I'm just so sorry, dude. Sucks so bad, man. She was a cool cat. Really cool cat. So yeah.
It's all good, man.
We've been doing this for a while, dear listener. Like Luke and I've been talking about this for a minute, and
we've been talking about this cat for weeks now.
Yeah.
And she weighed less than 4 pounds. She was just skin and bones. Just by the end of it, it was awful it was painful to look at and painful to experience. So this is why those last couple of shows that we did were just very short. I had very little time for prep. And then by the end of it, I was like, dude, if you want to take a break, I would be totally down for that. And fortunately, Russ was down for that too. And, Russ and I, just to kind of pull back the curtains a little bit, we have a very, very patient, I'm not the most patient person in the world. I have generally pretty high expectations, I think. So I've been trying to get better about that. But Russ and I have a very patient give and take relationship as it goes to, and I've tried to get better over time. I think I have. I hope I have.
But, you have, man. Yeah, we fought this shit out over years, man. So we give each other a very long leash and we understand each other very well, I would have to say, I mean, we've done the work. That's what it is. We've done the work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we have a very good working relationship. So no, there's no drama. There's nothing going on. And I'll say this is the last thing I'll say about this, but somebody asked me a few weeks ago, they were like, what's the hardest thing about starting a podcast? And, there's marketing and there's a lot of work. And my answer was like, well, assuming you're doing it with a partner, you're doing it with somebody, the hardest part is finding somebody, not that you can do one show with or a couple of shows, but that you can just do shows with infinitely and not have problems. It is like forming a business with somebody and doing a show with somebody is so profoundly difficult to do. And it's like a marriage in some sense. And you have to have a lot of patience and work really hard, and you have to do it together. You have to both be on the same page. And I think Russ and I do a pretty good job of that, I have to say.
Oh, that's sweet, man. I agree. I
don't know where I'm turning around looking for Jet. She's going to get jealous if she hears me say all this.
Oh, man. Yeah, man, what a long, crazy ride. 10 months. Here we are, episode number 35. Who would have ever thought, man? Luke and I thought we'd burn out around episode number 10. Here we are at 35. No end in sight. Luke, I will tell you, I got about half a dozen, maybe even more texts to the effect of, oh, my God, is everything okay? Somebody asked me if the band broke up. And no, man, no, it's none of this. Everything was cool.
Not at all. We were not
even close.
Like, I remember that day, by the end of that day, after we didn't record, I was like, man, I already want to record. It's been like 2 hours since we should have started. And I was already ready to go again. But,
yes, sir.
And whatever the case, it's all, we are here. We are back. There was never any problems, and we are ready. We are more ready than ever to get on with more content.
Damn straight. All right, so let's hit Sri Lanka, man.
Sri Lanka. So as you are probably well aware of what happened in Sri Lanka this morning, again, we're recording on Easter Sunday here. I'm 7 hours ahead of Russ. So I've had a little bit more time to understand what's going on with this. So I'm going to kind of take the lead and lay out my factual analysis for you here, dear listener. So this morning, starting at, I think it was 08:45, there was a bomb blast in a church. There were 8 bomb blasts reported. 3 of them were at churches. They were in, just to get into some details here, they were in Negombo, Batticaloa. I'm butchering these names, I'm sure, but you don't know that because you don't know how to say them either, dear listeners, so don't even... And, here's one. Colombo's Kakchikade district during Easter services. So, as of this recording, I'm seeing everywhere 207. I could have swore on some source I saw earlier it was up to 215, but I'm going to go with 207 right now as of this recording on Sunday evening.
Yeah, I'm at 207. The article I have up is 207, and it's being regularly updated. So let's call it 207.
Yeah, and
awful, man.
Yeah, totally. And I would fully anticipate that number climbing because there are 450 hurt in the explosion. So I fully expect that number to climb in the coming hours and maybe the next day or two. And who knows what it'll end up being? Somewhere probably closer to 250, I would imagine. In addition to the churches, so there were 3 churches. In addition to the churches, there were 3 hotels. That were hit. They were the Shangri-La, the Kingsbury, and Cinnamon Grands hotels, and one other, all in the capital. They were also targeted. And then there were 2 more blasts. Now, the final 2 were actually when the police were in pursuit of the disgruntled citizens of the world who are responsible for this. And they set their bombs off. These were all suicide bombers. They set their bombs off as police were approaching. I saw earlier that they had killed 3 police officers in the process of fleeing the police. And thus far, there are 27 foreign nationals that are among the dead. I do know at least one of those is an American, 1 Brit, and then I think 1 Chinese and 4 that are injured. So there were some foreign nationals there as well. The national curfew has been put into place until further notice. Last I saw, it was from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. The government has shut down social media networks, so there is no WhatsApp, there is no Facebook that I believe. They have been temporarily blocked so as to prohibit communication from between the terrorists. Now, this is a great example, dear listener. Any of you astute dear listener preppers out there, and Russ, I know you are too. It's a great example of why you should always have what am I thinking of, Russ? I'm going to quiz you here.
A backup communication source like walkie-talkies or something like that?
Yeah, close. A ham radio.
Okay. Oh, yeah, ham radio. Okay.
Yeah. If communication systems go down, ham radio is the one communication source that will still exist. If all the satellite systems go down, the internet goes down, cell phones go down, everything goes down, an AM, it will be the people who know how to use ham radios. Those will be the only people left able to communicate. So
right, just ask Nellie Orr about that. She knows all about the ham radio, bro.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but a ham radio is good to have. I don't personally have one. Guilty as charged, but I just thought I would throw that out
Same
there.
Here.
Now I'll move on. So those are just the facts. The police chief has stated that this is an AFP article that I'm quoting here, that the bombing attacks were actually known 10 days ago. There's an AFP article from 10 days ago. So I'm quoting from AFP. A foreign intelligence agency has reported that the NTJ, National Tawhid Jama'ath, I don't know how to pronounce that again, is planning to carry out suicide attacks targeting prominent churches as well as Indian High Commission in Colombo, the alert said. The NTJ is a radical Muslim group in Sri Lanka that was linked last year to vandalization of Buddhist statues. The first blast was reported at St. Anthony's Shrine, a well-known Catholic church in the capital, Colombo. So this is a radical Muslim group who has a history of causing problems in this area. And the police chief and foreign intelligence agencies had reported 10 days ago that they expect there to be an upcoming attack. And here we are.
Yep.
Now,
and meanwhile, they have the temerity. I don't want to jump ahead of where you're at right now, but they have the temerity to literally say, "Oh, we're suspecting radical Hindus, radical Buddhists, targeting Christians." They literally have the temerity to say this in the Sri Lankan government right now and around the world. You know,
yeah,
unbelievable, man, unbelievable.
Yeah. But as one might expect, it was just some disgruntled citizens of the world.
Of course. Isn't it always, though?
Yeah. Now,
except for Christchurch.
yeah, right.
Except for Christchurch, yeah.
Okay. Now, Trump actually tweeted out. This is Trump's tweet. Which he has since deleted, okay? Heartfelt condolences from the people of the United States to the people of Sri Lanka on this horrible terrorist attack on churches and hotels that have killed at least 138 million people and badly injured 600 more. We stand ready to help. Now, Trump has since deleted that. So Trump definitely does not have a filtering mechanism between him and his Twitter.
Yeah, that's true.
So I had to go find that screen. I was like, this has got to be Photoshopped. No, it wasn't. He actually tweeted that.
Yeah, no, it was for real. Yeah. So, yeah. He revised that tweet to 138 people have been killed in Sri Lanka with more than 600 badly injured in a terrorist attack on churches and hotels. The United States offers heartfelt condolences to the great people of Sri Lanka. We stand ready to help. Much better the second time, Mr. President. Much better.
Yeah. It's like, let's try this again.
Yeah.
No, there's somebody I want to bring up, CARE's response to this, which is the Council on American Islamic Relations. Now, Russ, you have a clip there. Do you want to play this drop for us? This is what CARE, CARE had to say on the Sri Lanka attack.
All right, here it goes right here.
It's absolutely necessary that we don't wait until we have horrific situations like this, horrific incidents of kind of global importance, to pay attention to this issue. I'll be quite honest. Right now, it seems to be the case that we only look at fires, but we smell the burning smoke from miles and miles away, and we ignore it. We say, oh, there's some burning smoke, there might be something, and we only pay attention when the fire is brought directly into our face. I'll say that the fire is there, it's brewing, it's international, and it has a source, it has a cause, it has a structure to it. And so the one thing that we have to pay attention to, I'll depart from conversations about statistics for just a second, is we have to pay attention to the ideology that breeds this kind of activity. Hate has the same DNA everywhere that you see it. Okay? Hate has the same DNA everywhere that you see it. It has the same goals in mind. the same pathological ideologies that exist in this manifesto, which God forbid you would actually take.
Okay, all right, we're going to cut it right there. That's enough.
Yeah,
that's enough.
Wait, Russ. Did you hear something that he mentioned there right at the very end?
Hate, the DNA of hate.
Oh yeah, but there was one thing that he said. He said the manifesto. Oh, you know what, dear listener? Never mind. That's what Kara had to say about the New Zealand attack. Oh,
dang.
Okay.
Our bad.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Our bad.
Yeah.
Dang, how could we screw that up, Luke? Man,
I don't know, Russ. Yeah. I don't know. We're getting sloppy. Here. It was that week off that's causing us all these problems. You're gonna have to give us a couple weeks to get back. No. Here we go. This is what I have. Yeah, Russ. I have exactly. So I guess. I guess they thought it more appropriate that rather than have a full-on press conference and make a big deal of it, no, they just gave a little four-sentence statement here. Today's savage attacks on Christian worshippers celebrating Easter Sunday and others in Sri Lanka are outrageous and despicable. May God heal those injured, comfort the loved ones of those killed, and bring those responsible for this crime to justice. American Muslims stand with our fellow citizens of all faiths in condemning such acts of violence wherever they place and whomever they target. Today, we join people around the world in saying, pray for Sri Lanka. Okay, so in one scenario, you have CARE just doing making this huge deal. Dog and pony show, really. But I mean, I don't want to call it that because in some sense it was very appropriate. But yeah, what we said on that show, and this is actually the snippet that we're going to cut. What we said on that show is that they don't really have a right to be so angry because when it's somebody from some encampment in Islam coming out and doing this, and who cares what it is? And this is something I want to get to here in a minute as well, Russ, but I want to stay on this thread right now. Who cares who this is? I don't care if they do it to Buddhists, to Christians, to atheists, to Chinese, whatever. I don't care. I don't care who they're doing this to, right? What I care is that it's being done. And that is the difference here. I care about what it's being done, and then I care about what are the details, what information about these people do we know, and can we determine, can we figure out, and then do something about it. And it was quite apparent that after the New Zealand attack, organizations like CARE came out and they're like, oh, we're going to work with blah, 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 and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that to make sure this never happens again. And then when it's somebody from Islam doing it to somebody else, who cares who it is, it's just sort of like, we stand in solidarity.
Thoughts and prayers.
It's not like, oh, hey, since we have access to people, since we being in the social grapevine of this, like maybe we can help identify. No, it's just, today we join people around the world in saying, pray for Sri Lanka. Oh, thanks, CARE. Thanks for the help there.
As the leftists always say when Christians say thoughts and prayers, right? You know what? Take your thoughts and prayers and shove them where the sun don't shine. Seriously, CARE, right? Yeah. Like, oh my God, man. The insincerity of all of it is just mind-boggling. But nonetheless, when Christchurch happened, it was full-on ideological jihad right then and there within 1 hour. This press conference was called. Now we get some paltry tweets from them. Oh, thoughts and prayers. We stand in solidarity. You're so right, man. So right. The hypocrisy is deafening.
Yeah. Now we weren't actually when we were talking about how we were going to do this show. If you remember this, Russ, we were talking about how CARE hadn't said anything. It took literally until minutes before the show for them to come up with a 4-sentence response.
Yeah.
Now,
that's true.
Now, to be fair, in their defense, we don't necessarily know that it was Muslims. It could just be a disgruntled citizen of the world. It could be. But when you have the AFP coming out last week, 10 days ago rather, talking about how the police chief, intelligence agencies already expect terrorist attacks from a radical Muslim group who has a history of doing these things in that area, then, I mean, it's like, who are we?
Fashion.
Yeah, and in that fashion against certain people, it's just, who are we kidding here? So I get it. Care can't just come
You
out
see
of
all this smoke. You see all this smoke.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's so much smoke.
Yeah.
But you don't look at the fire.
Yeah.
You don't look at the fire.
Yeah. That's a good point. You know, where's the smoke here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So old Care strikes again. I kind of want to, anytime a terrorist attack happens, I mean, you know, when you think about anything, there's two facets of thought, really. There's like fact, and then there's value. And I think where a lot of people get caught up in trying to understand how to think about these horrific acts is they focus on the facts. You know, they're like fact. This happened. Oh, we need to determine the facts about this.
Yeah.
And then they don't really do anything with it. There's no evaluation there's no valuation of the facts so we can determine a course of action. It's just kind of like, okay, we've determined all the facts. Our work here is done. It's like, no, you have to determine the facts so you can do the work. The work is making sure it never happens again. And,
right.
And this is the problem, is that they don't want to take action. Nobody wants to take action to deal with this problem. I think that's a whole other conversation of how to deal with it, which we can't go into here. But I would like to see that at some point we would pull our heads out of the sand and realize that some people need to be dealt with, and quickly, and without question, and it just needs to be dealt with. And we need to do it the same way we did with the Japanese. And, you know, we can talk about how to do that and who it is, but, you know, sitting around beating our heads against the wall to try and determine factual analysis. Okay, well, why don't you do something with the facts once you have them this time? But I don't anticipate anybody will do anything with the facts. I think that we'll just go, oh, we found out who it is. Okay, all right, well, life goes on now. And I
think that's true.
Yeah, and I think that's all.
I think you're right.
All that'll happen, and this is just going to have to continue to happen. Not enough blood has been spilt yet for people to start taking this seriously, which is truly evil. Yeah, I mean, these things have to become more frequent and worse in nature for people to really want to start taking it seriously. And the truly blackpilling thing is, I mean, you look at 9/11, and what did that get us? Basically nothing. I mean, I don't want to say that people died in vain. We did a lot of important work over there, and that's true. But there are certain regimes that should have been unseated. The Iranians that we should have dealt with. We should have just nuked Tehran. Just boom, nuke, and all right, who's next? Let's see you do this again. Well, that's my foreign policy.
Saudi Arabia, to be fair, has a lot of culpability in 9/11, to be fair. But I get you. Yeah. I get your point, and I agree. Yeah. So. Yeah. I
mean, but at least Saudi Arabia has at least some semblance of friendliness to Western values.
True.
And I think a lot of actual, Saudis don't really feel that way either. It's mainly the wealthy princes, of whom there's many thousand.
True.
And the people of Saudi Arabia are largely disconnected from that, but I don't think that that's the case for the Iranian population. I think that when you have people out there chanting death to America, people electing leaders into office who in their halls of government chant death to America, I think you're dealing with a different animal there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem. I would agree. Just a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah. But in whatever the case, now I don't want to go off into a huge tangent. Someone's going to clip me saying nuke Tehran. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah. And, instead, under the Obama regime, what we did was gave them $150 billion on cash pallets and let them discover nuclear technology.
I thought it was way more than that.
So, that was only the cash transfer, $150 billion. You know what? I may be getting my facts wrong about this, so don't quote me on that. But nonetheless, it was a lot of money, 4 different planes, 4 different pallets of cash, and all different denominations of currencies, right? All different types of currencies, because we didn't have enough dollars to pay that exorbitant amount, So anyways, I don't want to get off on a huge tangent either, but at least foreign policy is getting a little bit more right again, but it's still not dealing with what needs to be dealt with, as you outlined pretty intelligently earlier. You know what I mean? Like this needs to be dealt with. ASAP.
Yeah.
Or we're going to have more Christ churches. We're going to have more revenge. You know what I mean? Christian revenge against Muslims if this isn't dealt with. If governments don't take this into their hands.
Yeah, and that's not a threat either. I mean, it's unfortunate. We don't condone that either. We don't want any of this. We don't want any violence. We want peace. We want a government that upholds peace among men and ensures that nobody threatens that. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. But I tell you what, Luke, I have another prediction. Speaking of Christchurch, man, whatever organization is behind this, when they come out and they cop to it and they start taking credit for it, I guarantee you they're going to say that this was revenge for Christchurch. I guarantee you, set your watch to it, man.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure next week we'll have CNN and all the talking heads going, oh, well, this is just a ramping up of these attacks. And,
this is our fault.
Under the Trump administration, we probably should expect to see this happen more, these back and forth attacks. And, this has a lot to do with Trump emboldening these people to retaliate, which further emboldens others to retaliate. And, we just live in scary times, folks. That's going to be the narrative.
You just hit the major prediction right there. This will be blamed by the leftist media on Trump. No doubt about it, man. This Sri Lanka attack will be blamed on Trump. I hadn't even thought about that yet, Luke, but you're 100% correct. That's going to happen within hours after we hit the black button and stop this recording. That's going to happen within hours. Believe that.
Yeah, dude. Our next excerpt, we should just like pull that out and then everything, like the last couple minutes of us talking about this, and then we should mash that together with like all of these talking heads on CNN next week.
Totally, dude. Totally. Yeah. That's exactly where this is going to go. So I don't know. Maybe we'll be wrong, but probably not. So.
Yeah. I think, since there's not a lot of facts, the facts are still developing, I should say. I think we should probably go ahead and move on. But before we move on, there was one other thing that I wanted to say, Russ, that, this is interesting. You and I have spoken in the past about this where, I think that a lot of the reason that these people on the alt-right feel this sort of tendency to want to turn to their own, other whites basically, and we need to protect ourselves and band together. And it's a white versus Muslim, white versus this group, white versus that group. And this is a really good example of how that mentality can actually in the long run damage you, because these are Hindus, these are Buddhists, these are not white Christians. These are Christians who are of another race. And when you have this sort of like us versus them mentality, and you have this like preconceived definition of who us is, then it shuts out the possibility to form alliances with others, right? So we have all of these other people who have been devastated and very much harmed, who live in Sri Lanka. And these are people that we can band together with and say, like, we stand against the people who are coming after us. Now, we have to identify that. We can't just say it's all of Islam, it's all Muslims, but we can seek to understand who that core constituency is of the enemy and define that as the enemy. But it's important to stand with all of these other people who, and I think that's a lot of times people, even the West, it doesn't have to be white, it could be the West. It's like, oh, it's Islam versus the West. Well, no, it's not. It's like radical, it's Islamic totalitarianism against anybody who is not Islamic, is not Muslim. Now, that doesn't mean everybody who's Muslim feels that way. It's actually a very, relatively small percentage of people who actually act on it, and a few more, oh God, dude, his name is escaping me. Sam Harris, when he was talking to Ben, who's that idiot actor? Ben. It was on.
Dang, I don't know.
It was on the Bill Maher show. Maybe it's not Ben. Whatever. He's like buddies with Matt Damon, and he was in.
Yeah. Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Yeah. When it was Ben Affleck and Sam Harris like kind of unpacked it for him. He was like, you have this in like these concentric circles of people where each circle is less radical than the circle towards the middle, and he really did a good job of explaining that, and I think there's some validity to that. But So you have to identify who the enemy is and make sure that it's correct and that it's right. You don't want to just kill innocents needlessly. But it's important to not just say, oh, this is a Western thing. Oh, this is a white thing. Oh, this is a Christian thing. Oh, it is, we now know, we can look at this and say it's observably true that there are all of these other people that are being impacted by radical Islamic totalitarianism, and that radical Islamic totalitarianism is the enemy of everybody else. And it doesn't matter who they are. And I just want to make that observation here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, fair, man. Very fair.
So do we want to move on to the next one, man? I kind of want to move on before we get too black-pilled, although I think we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, it is. But I'm getting a little black-pilled. I'm getting a little triggered thinking about this, man. And, thinking about CARE's response to it is just really triggering. I mean, it's things like CARE's response, their paltry response, that make people pissed off at all of Islam collectively, right? Because...
Which is unfortunate, It
is unfortunate. It is, man. But they're so incorrect in their premises in trying to advance Islam in the West, right? That's what their objective is, that they can't even really seriously stand up in the West and condemn this just pure evil among someone in their own ranks. These aren't Christians, these aren't Buddhists, and they're not Hindus, right? They need to be stepping up right now a little bit more forcefully and saying, you know what, we're going to police this shit. We'll figure this out ourselves. We're going to need some help from some law enforcement agencies, but we're going to fix our own ranks here. Yeah. Right.
How about
like a little bit of self-awareness. Yeah. Right.
A de-radicalization task force, or a pacification task force,
Right. Right. Absolutely. But all we get is thoughts and prayers.
We stand in solidarity. Oh, shucks. Happened again. Yeah. Solidarity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but then Christchurch happens, and man, it's just full-on war against everybody that is attacking them.
Yeah, smoke.
Yeah, smoke, all the smoke. You don't see the fire of the God.
I can barely breathe. Smoke.
All right, yeah, let's ride on, man. It is black pilling, man. It really is, man. Especially on Easter, man. For God's sake, come on, man. Like, give us a break. Give us a break. At least let us have Easter, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what we got next, man?
Mueller Report, dude. Your territory.
Oh, dang. We're already to this. Okay. All right. Well, all right. So here's what's up. I started reading the Mueller Report last night. I got just south of about 100 pages into it. And man, Luke, I've got to be honest. I got triggered. I hit a burnout point. I got to the point where I realized I'm so sick and tired of talking about all this, man. It's all this fake news that has been going on, this lie that has been told for almost 3 years now. There's really not much to say about it other than the Mueller Report is garbage. It is not worth toilet paper. It is not worth the pixels of energy this report consumes. It is exactly what Luke and I said it was going to be. It is written to maximally damage the president intentionally, right? And their findings, really, there's just a whole lot of nothing there, all right? So there are plenty of things to say already about what I've read about, this, I don't know, let's call it 89, 90 pages, somewhere in there that I've gotten through. And then I had to take a break, man. Yeah. There's plenty of stuff to say just in those, like little Easter eggs hidden there, here and there, little funny bits here and there. But I'm going to leave it off with 4 key takeaways, okay? Just 4, okay? Now, I'm relying on Paul Sperry for a lot of these, so hat tip, Mr. Sperry. I'm relying on a lot of news sources for these. Mr. Bongino doing the great work on this. Mr. Bongino, thank you so much. I want to source all of y'all. But there are a couple of things that even the two of you are not talking about that I want to discuss here in these 4-point takeaways. Okay, number 1. There is almost no mention of Christopher Steele in the dossier in the report. Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny? Now, what's more telling about this is that in the language of the report, if you really pay attention to it, Mueller really not so subtly admits that the entire basis for the investigation was nothing ever but the Steele dossier. Now, how do we know this? Because he admits from the very beginning that he was instructed to investigate Russia collusion with Carter Page, George Papadopoulos, and Paul Manafort. Okay.
Now, 1 second, Russ. Wasn't there? I thought I saw something on Twitter or something about like how in the report there was something about somebody admitted that they knew back in 2017 that dossier was fake or something like this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Bruce Orr himself,
which would be
knew that the dossier was fake.
Yeah, which would be like a huge contradiction. Is anything being done about that? Is anybody investigating the fact that they admitted that yet they proceeded forth with the investigation anyway?
No. Well, now let me not say no, okay? Because what has happened since we did HSP number 34 is that Devin Nunes has sent up referrals for prosecution about people who lied to Congress, and he sent that up to William Barr. We don't know exactly what's going on with this. William Barr does not have to act on this referral from Devin Nunes on these referrals for criminal investigation.
Now, Devin Nunes, actually, just for your listener here, Devin Nunes is friendly or enemy?
He's definitely friendly, man.
Okay,
he's doing the work. Yeah. Congressman from California, great guy, man. He's in the Freedom Caucus along with Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan, all of these soldiers. Doug Collins from Georgia. Yeah, man, he's doing good work.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that for dear listener because sometimes these names can just get so out of control.
Absolutely. Yeah, they can. And man, that reminds me, Luke, I'm so glad that we don't really have to talk about this Russia bullshit anymore, that we can kind of move on because it is so arcane and detailed, man. It's easy to get lost in the weeds about this. And I'm looking forward to HSP moving on from this scandal, man.
I know we've been talking about this you've done an amazing job covering it all, but we've been talking about it for a year now.
Episode 1, man. That was the first time we talked about this, was episode 1. Unbelievable, man. And it still won't stop. So, and I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. But anyway, just to sum up, there may be things going on. William Barr may be doing some work on this criminal investigation referral from Devin Nunes. We just don't know yet, right? But we do know that everybody within the DOJ knew that this dossier was false, because Bruce Orr himself told everybody in the DOJ, you know what? Not so much. This dossier was paid for by Clinton. I'm not sure that we can use this as a source for an investigation. They did it anyway.
Now,
and they used it as the... Go ahead.
Now, you said in bots that you think that William Barr was brought on to clean up the DOJ, so it would make sense then that he would want to pursue this, right?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. It would. Yeah. It absolutely would. And I expect that he will at least read this criminal referral very interestedly. Whether or not he acts on it, we just don't know. And, here's the thing. We don't really know what those criminal referrals are because Devin Nunes is playing his cards very close to his chest here. He won't name any of the people that he's written in this criminal referral. There are several different layers of stratification of criminal referral. We know that. And we can infer definitely who is on that list. I mean, we're talking about James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Jim Clapper, John Brennan, probably, I'm guessing, James Wolfe. And all of this is speculation. We don't know, but based on what Devin Nunes has said is in that criminal referral and how this is stratified in terms of importance of, lying to Congress, leaking to the media. There are a lot of ways that you can kind of extrapolate who's named in it, but we don't know for sure. We haven't read it in black and white yet. So we'll see, man. We'll see. So maybe things are going on. Maybe this whole thing just goes away. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll stay on it, though. So, but anyways, like this point that I want to make here is that Mueller, kind of candidly admits that the only source for this investigation ever was the dossier, right? Yet the dossier is barely even mentioned in this report. Christopher Steele is barely even mentioned in the Mueller report. Now, why is this? I am going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say that it's because Robert Mueller and Andrew Weissman are trying to make the case that, there was just so much evidence here that we just had to go through all of this. The Christopher Steele dossier didn't even play into this in the slightest. We had enough evidence to go on to start this investigation anyway, right?
Overwhelming evidence.
Right. Just so. So, I don't know, folks. What this means is that we need to have a look at the scope memos, and the scope memos are these. When the investigation originated in May of 2017, and Robert Mueller was appointed special counsel by Rod Rosenstein, he was given a memo about, here's what you're investigating. It's Russia collusion. I wish. Collusion, all right? About 3 months later, in August of 2017, it seems like Mueller went back to Rosenstein and asked for an amended scope document, okay? In other words, it seems like what he wanted to do is broaden the scope of the investigation to also include obstruction, okay? So we know that the scope of the Mueller probe of the special counsel was changed. We need to have a look at those scope memos right now. Once the FISA warrants are declassified, when the FISA warrants are declassified, we need to take a look at those, exactly who signed off on those false, phony, fake FISA warrants. We need to find out how this scope memo changed from the beginning to 3 months later. We need to see this because it looks like what Mueller was trying to do was keep this investigation open forever to maximally damage the president forever.
Now, but I've heard some grumblings about Mueller getting indicted.
I have not heard that. He is going to testify before Congress, but I've not heard anything about indictment. Do you know where you heard that by chance?
I don't know, man. It was like a week ago. It was like I saw something. I don't know. It's probably something dumb that Elizabeth Warren said or something like this, Dang. And then she just deleted it, Delete, remove.
It never happened, except that it did. And it's always there in the Wayback Machine. So I'll take a look at the Wayback Machine and see if we can find something out about this. But dang, man, that would be white pilling as F if he ended up getting indicted for this, because he is he's
no indicted by the left.
Oh, huh.
The left threatening to indict him.
Well, dang, huh.
Now, I could be wrong on that. Maybe it was like testify before Congress, but I remember when I came across it, I was like, oh man, it's basically, Robert Mueller was in this, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't position.
Well, I mean, he put himself in that position, but I get what you're saying. Let me look into this. That got past me, man. I don't know anything about that. I know that they're madder than hell at Robert Mueller, that's for sure, and definitely mad at William Barr. They're wanting to bring William Barr in for testimony to Congress, but they've already said Mueller needs to testify immediately. And so I think that I've heard that maybe in as soon as 2 weeks, Mueller's going to go testify before the Judiciary Committee. I'm not sure. Maybe Oversight Committee. I'm not sure which committee even. I don't know.
Huh.
So,
well, we'll stay on top of it, dear listener.
Yeah.
We'll let you know what happens with that.
Yeah. I mean, because unfortunately, the deal is this. This should be over now. This should be ancient history. We should be able to throw this in the left's face about, what have we been saying for the last 3 years? We're now exonerated. The president is exonerated. Everybody is fully vindicated. But no, what they're going to do is this back door that I discussed in Bots, Thoughts, and Drops number 6 in Volume 2, dealing with the obstruction investigation. This left the door open for Congress to make the determination as to whether or not the president obstructed the Russia probe. And they're going to investigate it, but they're really not talking about investigation. What they're talking about is they're going straight for impeachment. And this is really interesting because Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, Nancy Pelosi, they all came out saying that, okay, we're not going to go for impeachment. But then you've got this radical left wing of the Democrat Party, like AOC, like Rashida Tlaib, like Ilhan Omar saying
Elizabeth Warren
saying impeach. Kamala Harris, impeach. Cory Booker, impeach. Right? So this is really interesting because this highlights this fissure in the Democrat Party once again. And this is really interesting because, man, Nancy Pelosi has lost entire control of the Democrat Party.
So good.
Yeah.
Impeach. Please impeach.
Go for it. I couldn't agree more. Go for it. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
I would love it. That would be so good if they just impeached. Like, Elizabeth Warren is such an idiot. This is just pure opportunism. She is such an opportunist. That's all this is.
Indeed, sir.
We talked about how populism is sticking your finger up in the air and seeing which way is the wind blowing. Like, that is all that sums up Elizabeth Warren's entire campaign strategy so far. Indeed.
Yeah. All of them, for the matter of fact, man. I mean, they're all what they see, Luke, is they see the winds blowing in the direction of Bernie Sanders. So they're trying to keep up with Bernie Sanders right now. You know what I mean? And yeah. Isn't it ironic, though?
It's a race to the left. Yeah,
it sure is, man. Isn't it ironic, though, man? Like, this is Luke's point, and I have to re-emphasize it once again, dear listener. This is populism. What the left is doing right now while damning populism is populism. It's so crazy, man. It is so crazy. They're so twisted up and wrong about everything right now. It's glorious, dude. It's glorious.
Yeah.
So.
What did you hear about our old friend Mitt Romney? Did you see about what happened with Romney?
Oh yeah, that he was ashamed and disgusted by what was revealed in the Mueller report. Is that the part you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cuck. What a cuck, man.
I know. You wonder why you lost.
Yeah, man. Exactly. I mean, that was his race to win, and he just absolutely cucked. And oh man, I was really disgusted by Mitt Romney when I read that quote, or whatever. He raced to a microphone and had to make a pronouncement about the Mueller report as quick as I possibly can, because oh my god, the president is just out of control, and
I have to cook quickly.
Yeah, cook quickly. As quickly as possible. When the right thing to say at this point in time is, all right, I'm convinced Russia's over with. That's the right thing to say right there. But no, not for Cuck Romney.
Yeah.
He's got to go out and damage the president, just like the left is trying to do, just like Mueller is trying to do. Disgusting. So, couple more takeaways from this, and then I want to get out of here, Luke. I'm tired of talking about this business, man. Let's resolve in HSP number 36. Let's hope that we don't have to deal with this Russia thing anymore. Like, unless something comes up, let's just move on from this, man, because I really did hit burnout last night reading this report. Got all triggered and everything. Another point I want to leave you with is this. Jeff Sessions is completely exonerated in that entire report, right? Now, this is what it is, all right? Because what they end up saying, you got to remember, Jeff Sessions is sworn in as Attorney General. Rod Rosenstein goes and starts putting the heat on him about, you have to recuse yourself because of all your meetings with Sergei Kislyak, the Russian ambassador. All of these times you've met with Russians, we're looking into how Russians corrupted the United States 2016 election. You got Russia all over you. Russia's all over you. You have to recuse. And so he did. He bowed to the pressure. The Mueller report ends up coming up and saying, yes, all of these meetings with Russians were, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something to the effect of, they were known, they were public, and they were unsubstantial. You see what that is right there? Robert Mueller just said there was no reason for Jeff Sessions to recuse himself in the first place. Yet his buddy Rod Rosenstein forced him to recuse himself anyway. Absolutely disgusting, man. Like, really, seriously. We might still have, I'm pleased with William Barr right now. He is certainly no Trump guy. And his best friend, as a matter of fact, is Robert Mueller. Like, they go to church together and stuff. Their children grew up together and stuff like this. That's how close they are. Like, William Barr and Robert Mueller, BFFs for real, right? Nonetheless, I'm pleased with the work that William Barr is doing. However, had Jeff Sessions not had the screws put on him to recuse himself so that Rod Rosenstein could appoint Robert Mueller as the special counsel to run roughshod all over the president, we might still have Jeff Sessions as Attorney General right now. Had he not been unjustly forced to recuse himself, this is what I'm saying. It was not justified for him to recuse himself. Rod Rosenstein better be scared right now. That's all I got to say. Last point I want to leave you with is this. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. And it's right there in black and white, dude. It's right there in black and white. Mueller himself says, yeah, all of his meetings with Russians were public and unsubstantial. Thanks, bro.
Wow.
Thanks. Appreciate that. 3 years later. Really appreciate it. All right. Now, the last thing I want to leave everybody with is the stuff going on with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Okay. Now, I talked about this a little bit in Bots, Thoughts, and Drops number 6, but the first part of the report that I read was the bit about WikiLeaks, and man, I got triggered. And this is what it says, okay? The report literally says that Julian Assange was colluding with Russians, that Russians got the DNC emails, they wanted to publish them, so they went to Julian Assange and gave him these emails so that he would publish them, right? This is the whole crux of all of this Russia stuff besides the dossier. All of this smoke. This is what it is, okay? The dossier, WikiLeaks collusion with Russia, and Trump colluding with WikiLeaks, okay? Then the report goes on to say, but Julian Assange didn't know that he was working with Russians. Oh my God. Okay, that means Julian Assange was not colluding with Russians. That's exactly what it means. If you don't know that you're working with Russians, you're not colluding with Russians, okay? After all of this time, after all of this, now they come out and say, yeah, Julian Assange was colluding with Russians, but he didn't know he was colluding with Russians. That's literally what the report itself says. That's what Robert Mueller himself says. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And the other thing is, this is the point I made in Bots, Thoughts, and Drops number 6, and it is this. Robert Mueller never subpoenaed, never interviewed Julian Assange, right? So for him to come up and say that Julian Assange was getting information from Russia after Julian Assange himself has been in the media saying, I didn't get the information from Russia. This came from an individual. There was no state actor involved in this whatsoever. For Robert Mueller to come up and say that he's been colluding with Russians, but he didn't know it, is absolute BS and a lie on its face. There's one person, once again, there's only one person in the world who knows the source of the DNC leak, and that is Julian Assange. And Robert Mueller didn't even have the time to go bother to ask Julian Assange where he got this information. Now, Julian Assange might have claimed journalistic privilege and not given up that source, but nonetheless, Mueller didn't even take the time to go ask him. He just makes this rather bold assumption that it's the Russians that hacked the DNC server. We have literally no proof of this whatsoever. The FBI never investigated the DNC server. We don't know where the pings came from, right? The only thing that the only investigation we also have is from CrowdStrike, who the DNC hired to come in and take a look at their server, okay? Robert Mueller didn't even bother talking to CrowdStrike. All right, yeah, let us know what you found out. He didn't even bother talking to them, man. He didn't talk to Julian Assange.
Yeah, man, hit me up on Facebook Messenger. Let me know what you find out.
Right, man. Right. Oh, man. So anyways, I'm going to read it a little bit more. I got a little bit addicted to it, so I'm probably going to try to finish it at some point in time. But man, I got triggered last night, and I had to stop. So I just want you to know that every last bit of the Mueller report is just BS. All of it. Every single last bit of it. It's just sat here. What they did is sat here and tried to cook up a 450-something page report to make it seem like there was Russia there, when they admit throughout over and over again, if they're not lying about Julian Assange, that is, that there was no Russia there this whole time. They admit it themselves in the report. And I don't know, dear listener, if you really want to go read it, I can't say that I don't recommend it. It's not hard reading. It's pretty easy to read. You know, it's not written for legal scholars. It's written for people to read so that they can, lap up these details and further try to impugn the character of the president. That's what it's for. It's for the general populace. So it's pretty easy to read, but man, it's boring. It's triggering, and I'm sick of this. Yeah, dry, man. Dry. Yeah. So I don't know, man. That's about all I got on this. I'm getting triggered.
Well done, dude.
All right. Let's hope that we don't ever have to talk about this again, Luke. I mean, really, what I want to do.
I'm not getting my hopes up.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I mean, we're probably what's going to end up happening is that we're going to be talking about this in terms of impeach going forward. That's kind of what I think, So yeah. So
which is great. We want them to impeach Trump. Yeah. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, it would. Yes, it would. And we would find out so much information that Mueller did not publish in the report. Right? We would see Schiff himself get egg on his face right and left because of the fact that he met with Christopher Steele directly, even though he's trying to act as an impartial investigator and an impartial investigator into this probe, this horrible crime by our president. Yeah, whatever, bro. You went and met with Christopher Steele yourself, so let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Let's get this on, man. Let's get it on.
For sure. I mean, that will all but guarantee Trump re-election in 2020.
Yes, sir. Yes, it will. It absolutely will. So,
I mean, the Russia thing, the Russia hoax, it pretty much already has, in my opinion. I think there are so many people who are so sick of these strong arm tactics that the left is taking, that the left has no ideas. They don't stand for anything in particular. I mean, what do they stand for at this point, if not just socialism?
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like the two things that the left is now, the two things that the left can be identified as being is socialist and third world politics, strong arm against the political opposition tactics.
Yep.
That's it.
Well,
congratulations. This is the party that you have built.
Yeah. Well said, brother.
Went from Obama to this in 3 short years.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And Obama was bad enough, man, but like, I don't know. You know, it's really white pilling in a lot of ways, because I'm becoming ever more convinced that, like you said a couple of episodes back, the United States is not ready for socialism. And we're seeing this bear out in the polling results right now. Like, they don't want this. And so people are starting to kind of leave the Dem party quickly. You know what I mean? They're
quietly, but quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Quietly, but quickly. We got Trump polling at, what is it? Is he at 53%, higher than Obama approval numbers ever polled, right? Ever? Yeah. I mean, things are starting to switch in a major way, and that's all because of you, Dems. Seriously, that's because of your own party. You're chasing your people away. We're not doing anything. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is Trump doesn't, in my opinion, do himself any favors, generally speaking. Just the things that he says, the way he handles himself. In some ways, he does himself some favors, but in other ways, he just says a lot of dumb things and comes off as being, I mean, he's just sort of an exhausting president to have for somebody who pays attention to politics. Yeah. And I mean, if it were anybody else, they'd probably be doing even better. But I think it took somebody like Trump to get elected over somebody like Hillary. But, you know, the last couple of years have been so exhausting, you know, not dealing with Trump, but just sort of just having him in office, you know, that I think if the left put up like a good candidate, and they didn't do all this and they just did it honestly, and then they just put up a good candidate for 2020, I think they would have a real shot. But people are so sick of this, and they don't want socialism, and they're so sick of the corruption, which is what this is. It's just corruption. That I think they have all but guaranteed Trump's reelection in 2020 at this point.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. Bernie may be able to, you know, bring some heat, do some damage. Everybody I know that is on the left wants Bernie to get the nomination. The Democrats are trying to cuck him up before he gets there. They're really terrified about the fact that Bernie might get the nomination because, truthfully, he's not a Democrat, and he's going to push that party even farther left. And the cooler heads like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and all these people that are realizing that, oh, God, we've gone too far to the left, we need to dial it back down, are terrified of the fact that Bernie might get the nomination. So he might do some damage to Trump. Outside of that, I don't see anybody else in their 21-person roster that could do anything to the president in an election. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Pete Buttigieg, maybe, but
maybe.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, maybe. You're right about that. He seems to be the made man. We got out in front of that. We called him that it's looking like he's the chosen one. And man, look at all this praise he's gotten, all this money he's making. I mean, yeah, the left is trying to meme him into the guy. And they may do it. I'm still on the record saying look for Michelle Obama to jump in any time now. Maybe even Hillary.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I still don't see Michelle coming out and running. Maybe later, maybe a different future election. I mean, they're so young, you know, they got plenty of time.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she could be Hillary's daughter, for God's sake.
True. True. Yeah, man. Excuse me. All right, so what we got next? Are we break now? Or are we gonna hit this last little bit here real fast?
Let me see. What do we got? Sorry, I didn't have the show part pulled up.
Militia.
Yeah, well, dude. Well, I mean, this is not a big topic. Let's hit it and then we'll do break.
All right, sounds good.
You want to take the lead on this one because I think you know more about it than I do.
Okay, yeah. So, a couple of days ago, a bunch of people started publishing the fact that there is a group called the Constitutional American Patriots, United Constitutional Patriots. That's what it is. United Constitutional
Man,
Patriots.
edgy. That is edgy, Russ.
Isn't it, though? Yeah. And they are a militia group that has been down on the border in New Mexico and Texas, and they've been rounding up illegals, and they're getting rather impressive numbers. One night they got 600-ish, something like that, and they're armed. They're carrying around AR-15s and such, and they're wearing military gear, but they've been instructed by the Border Patrol to not turn their weapons on illegals. So all they're doing, they've got their weapons here for self-defense, and they're rounding up illegals and holding them until the Border Patrol can actually get back to them and come and arrest all of these illegals and take them downtown. It's a really white-pilling thing. and they're getting really popular. Their Facebook, or rather their YouTube views are going up quickly. The comment sections, except for trolls, are unanimously like, way to go, Patriots. Thank you so much. I expect their numbers to swell in the coming weeks. I expect people to go down there and try to join them. But the latest news that happened today, reading a Zero Hedge piece from the second paragraph down, Larry Hopkins, 69, was arrested in Sunland Park, New Mexico on a federal complaint charging him with being a felon in possession of firearms and ammunition, according to the FBI. The arrest of Hopkins, also known as Johnny Horton, which I love so much. Johnny Horton, R.I.P., man, you were a soldier. Country music singer back in the 60s. He died in 62. Comes 2 days after the American Civil Liberties Union accused the militia of illegally detaining migrants. Yeah, right. In response, New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham ordered an investigation. We're not worried about it. He's going to be cleared, said Jim Benvey, a spokesman for the United Constitutional Patriots, which blamed the arrest on political pressure by Governor Hopkins, is known as the national commander of the group. That's a horrible sentence, Tyler. Sorry. By the governor, period. I see it now. Hopkins is known as the national commander of the group. Okay. So the FBI went down and arrested the group's leader. They're just trying to do the honest work. They're trying to help out the Border Patrol. They have not been dismissed by the Border Patrol. They've never been told to stand down by the Border Patrol. In fact, the Border Patrol is like, yeah, man, no problem. Just don't shoot up any illegals. Don't turn your gun on them. Hold them here while we can get to you. And like, dear listener, when they grab these people and they put them there in these groups, swelling to one group had like 70 something, one had 90 something, one had 600 something. They're rounding them up, making them sit down, right? It's hours before the Border Patrol can get to them to come and arrest these illegals. Hours and hours and hours. So anyway, they're doing the work that, quite frankly, American citizens are too lame to do. And the Border Patrol is too overextended to do. And I appreciate it very much, man, but they're trying to take them down. They've arrested the leader for carrying firearms, even though he's been previously arrested in 2006 on firearms charges. So, whatever.
Cesar Chavez's his outfit, they had something like this.
Yeah.
They oh gosh, maybe I can Google it really quick. Yeah, I don't know, I can't, but yeah, Cesar Chavez, their organization, they had a militia group on the border to prevent.
That's correct. Yes,
to prevent illegal migrants coming over.
Yeah, absolutely correct. So.
Si se puede. Yes, we can.
Si se puede, man. Yeah. What episode was that we talked about that in, man?
We've done that in 2 episodes. I think the first time we did it was the first episode.
Yeah. And then maybe the deep dive on Democrat socialism in number 6. We did it again?
I think it was much more recent than that. I think it was like a 20-something episode.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but
yeah,
I wanted to ask, how many people are in this?
That we don't know. The group is very secretive about their numbers and names, so we don't exactly know how many people are in this militia. So there's that. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't really know where this militia came from, as a matter of fact. Like there are a lot of militia groups around the United States, like the Threepers, the 3% group. Oh, there are others that escape me right now. I've never heard of these cats before, man, and nobody really knows where they came from, but they organized, they got down to the border, they're doing the work and putting videos out to prove the work that they're doing and kind of like really preaching anti-illegal immigration stuff as they do it. They even have Mexican-American citizens in their ranks who are down there rounding up illegal Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? And like preaching about the perils of illegal immigration. You know what I mean? So it's good stuff, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're secretive about their data, and understandably so. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they could hire some illegals that are cheap labor that could help them.
Maybe so. Yeah, here's $25 a day to round everybody up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, dude. You want to do break now?
Yeah, we break now. And we're going to play some audio for you. It was Judge Janine's opening statement last night that is about the Mueller report. My bad. And she absolutely burned it down. It was on Breitbart News. It's been everywhere because she did a really good job, and I actually listened to it. It's about 7 minutes or so, Luke. Does that give us enough time for break?
Yeah, dude, that works.
All right, yeah, 7 minutes or so. I'm going to drop it right now, dear listener. Thank you so much for riding along with us so far. We're going to be back in 7 minutes of real time. Back at you before you know it.
unprecedented maligning by the mainstream media, high-level Obama administration officials, and disappointed, disgruntled, and deranged Democrats of the commander-in-chief as an agent of a foreign government, a Putin puppet, a treasonous dictator. All because they despise the outsider president we put in the Oval Office. Enough already. The system worked. The process is over. No collusion, no obstruction, full cooperation. Enough lives have been damaged, enough reputations ruined, enough families destroyed. They took down people with process crimes having nothing to do with Russia, and they never prosecuted anyone on the campaign or even one American for collusion. And all the while, he remained focused, determined to execute the mission to which he was elected. I ask you, have you ever seen a man face the onslaught of incoming every day, watch as the haters attempted to take down his family, saying they would be indicted any minute, and still forge ahead on America's behalf, our behalf, to make the economy stronger and the country safer? Have you ever seen a man willing to poke the eye of the tiger and not even claim executive privilege? Surrounded by wimps like former Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who hid under his desk, while Barack Obama's Attorney General Eric Holder was held in contempt of Congress. But Barack loved his loyal, protective wingman. And I'm not going to dwell on the fact that the real collusion with Russia was with the Bonnie and Clyde of American politics, Bill and Hillary, who sold our uranium to Russia and pocketed a quick $145 million through their trusty charity. Or Barack Obama saying there's no way Russia could hack into the 2016 election. I guess he was wrong. And Barack Obama, as he stood by and watched Russia invade Ukraine and annex Crimea. Or Joe Biden, who insisted the Ukrainian prosecutor be fired in the Ukraine because he was investigating Joe's son, who was doing business in the Ukraine. But the left continues to complain. They don't like the redactions which are required by the Department of Justice. They hate Bill Barr. They will read, reread, reinterpret every word to bring down the man prosecutors, 18 lawyers, 2 years, thousands of subpoenas, hundreds of search warrants, and $35 million could not.
This had been you or me or David Axelrod or anybody except the president, we would have been indicted. And Mueller makes that pretty clear. In fact, I think very clear. So that makes and as of this moment, Donald Trump walks. He walks only because he's president.
But it is important to note that the facts that are now established by this report are damning. Whether they could or should have resulted in the indictment of the president or people around him, they are damning.
I think they can make some sophisticated judgments about their president. It's not pretty. It is an ugly, damning piece of business.
It is not only a sweeping indictment in all but name on obstruction. Obstruction, yep. But it is also a portrait of deeply unacceptable, unethical conduct, unbefitting an American president.
He is unfit to be president of the United States, and anybody who suggests otherwise has not read the report.
Well, I've read the report, and you're wrong. They will seize upon the language that you cannot indict a sitting president, which is simply the law. Yet Mueller comes out and says he cannot exonerate the president of obstruction. There was not sufficient evidence to bring a charge. If there's not sufficient evidence to bring a charge, that should have been the end of it. But no, in a show of political whoremanship, that's what I said, political whoremanship, Mueller left crumbs for Congress. He added he couldn't exonerate Trump to give the Democrats something to work with. Now we're about to get 18 more months of this.
I will fight every day until he is impeached. Impeach 45.
And by the way, folks, prosecutors don't say they can't exonerate. Take that from me. Mueller slamming the guy on his way out was meant to satisfy his unsatisfied client, in this case, the Democrats. And by the way, I've been paneled and presented to many grand juries. You don't come out and say, I didn't indict him, but I couldn't exonerate him. I've never seen that, nor has anyone I've ever worked with. If you don't have evidence to indict, you keep your mouth shut. But apparently Mueller likes seeing the country in turmoil. He likes the chaos. So now, people in the middle say it's over. But the liars, the leakers, and the liberals are not going to stop. They prefer to take down the institution of the presidency and destroy him at every turn, in spite of a rocking economy and the establishment of America as a giant on the world stage again. So, the question. Should we all just move on? No, we cannot. There are people at the highest level of our government, going as high possibly as the White House, who chose to change the rules, violate the law, leak information, unmask innocents, seek search warrants on unverified political opposition papers. America cannot afford to simply turn away from crimes that were committed in order to frame the President of the United States. The lies, the dishonesty, the perjury, the fraud, the intimidation, they were weapons used by individuals who blatantly and openly hated the outsider. The Jim Comeys, the Andrew McCabe's, Peter Strzok's, Loretta Lynch's of the world, they need to feel the justice that they tried to impose on an innocent man. They created a blueprint for the presidential coup. Lady Justice doesn't care about party affiliations, colors, gender. Lady Justice cares about corruption. She cares about law and order. Our forefathers did too. That's why our Constitution must be respected. And these people, for their own selfish purposes, worked to prevent Donald Trump from gaining the presidency and then worked tirelessly as a cabal to make sure he was impeached. We cannot afford to let them walk away unscathed. You can laugh at us, you can laugh at opposing parties, but you cannot laugh at Lady Justice. Bill Barr is a serious guy. He's a no-nonsense, straight shooter who doesn't care what you say or think about him. He is a true warrior, and I believe he will follow through on his mission as the Attorney General. And finally, and at long last, bring justice to the people who really deserve it. And that's my open.
All right, everybody, welcome back to HSP episode number 35. Russ, did you have a good break? You get everything done you wanted to?
Yeah, man. I did. I refreshed Bev's and I got everything done, man. The judge went a little bit longer than 7 minutes. She went 8:42. My bad about that. And, but I needed that extra minute and 42 seconds to get sorted and settled. So perfect.
Perfect, man. Yeah, dude, she was fiery. I only caught the last few minutes of that because I was talking to Jessica. But that was good. I'll have to go back and listen to it. Yeah,
it is really good. And she knocked out of the park one point that I forgot to mention, and that is this. It is not Robert Mueller's job to exonerate the president. Robert Mueller has one job and one job only, and these are to make prosecuting documents. And if he doesn't have evidence to make those prosecuting documents, exoneration is intrinsic in that decision. It is not his job to say, I can't really exonerate him, leaving that back door open for Congress to investigate. And I do get Judge Janine's point about we can't let this go. There are too many people that lied, corrupted justice, and all that kind of stuff. But man, I'm just so sick of this, Luke. I'm sure you feel the same, man. You have to. We've been banging this drum forever, man.
I mean, my opinion on that is if they are going to go after him, they need to do it. They need to make sure that there is something there, because you don't want to do the same thing that the left just did and then lose all that momentum.
Yes, sir. Yeah, agreed. Declassification, brother. That's what it is. Declassification of the scope memos, of the FISA warrants, of all that stuff burns the house down. And maybe we'll finally get some charges in the appropriate direction once that happens.
Maybe. Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's move on to Notre Dame. This is the last blackpilling topic we have, dear listeners. So I don't know. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say. I mean, it's kind of old news at this point already. But it just because the news cycle just runs so fast now. But I think it's worth pointing out that I've seen some articles going around about the Notre Dame Cathedral burning down, that the left is turning this into a racist, anti-Catholic, anti-white issue.
Yes,
I even
sir.
saw some absurd Vox article talking about, the name of the article is Native American Activists. The fire at Notre Dame is devastating. So is the destruction of our sacred lands.
I read
So
that.
they're trying to co-opt this terrible event into some sort of Native American activist cry for attention. It's just totally disingenuous and pathetic. I'm not even going to quote from the article, but this just falls straight in the same family as the or child, I should say, of the never let a crisis go to waste approach to just world events, which is just so, oh man, what's the word I'm looking for, Russ? Help me out here. Like, not disingenuous. It's something more insidious than that, but
Nefarious.
Nefarious, yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
So, anyways, I mean, that's all I have to say about that. Is there anything you wanted to add? I mean, obviously it happened. We wanted to acknowledge it, but there's just, you can just right on cue expect the left to come out and try and co-opt this as some cry for attention for something that they care about, since they don't actually care about the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wanted to say about that, Russ?
Well, there were some really despicable articles that came out in Rolling Stone as well. I like the Vox article. I'm not going to quote them, but it basically says, while as horrible as it is, it feels like a breath of fresh air coming. This building burned. I could feel the oppression being lifted from me. This kind of nonsense. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into it. I do have the article pulled up here, but we're not going to waste our time on that. There is a lot of speculation going on around the internet from security cam footage that I have seen. There are Muslims running around, clearly Muslims because they're in hijabs and Muslim garb, running around the cathedral where the fire broke out shortly before the fire broke out. Like, this is fact, okay? I've seen the footage myself. This is not speculation. This is not conspiracy theory. Now, is it smoking gun evidence that these people started the fire? No, it's not. So everybody kind of needs to back up off of that a little bit, right? Nonetheless, the claim that there was nobody in the area where the fire started is false. There were people in the area where the fire started, okay? And they were Muslims, okay? Number two, they're saying, oh yeah, it was an electrical problem. Oh, it was a computer glitch. This whole litany of causes to keep people from investigating this are coming out from the French government. And Notre Dame Cathedral is the property of the French government. I found out it's not the property of the Catholic Church, right? But they're trying to deflect blame in every which way, and it's not working, right? And nobody believes anything the French government says, right? And the fire from Notre Dame spread into the Yellow Jackets movements this weekend. They've now taken up as their cause among their many other causes, right? They believe that it was arson. So I don't know. Like I said, I think I said it in Bots, Thoughts, and Drops number 5. We have not heard the end of this by a damn sight. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Going back to what we were talking about in the first segment, we're not there yet because when you need all the facts if you're going to make a proper valuation of the situation. So yes. I don't know. Me personally, I'm just waiting for more facts before I come out and say anything.
Same here. And everybody's saying, oh, smoking, this is a Muslim attack. Okay. Yes, we do know that 10 Christian churches were attacked in France leading immediately up to Notre Dame. Okay. Yes, we know that some of those involved Muslims burning churches down and vandalizing them. Yes. Does that tell us anything about Notre Dame? No, it doesn't. All right. So everybody just kind of back up off this a little bit. I plead with you. You're discrediting yourselves by saying this stuff.
Agreed entirely. Yeah. Good call, man.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. So anyways, but what we see here, and I kind of want to plug into what Luke just said about this leftist opportunity, never let a crisis go to waste. came up and gave a statement about, oh yeah, we're going to rebuild this cathedral in the image of modern day France, right? We're going to rebuild this, you know, in other words, they're going to quote unquote reconstruct it the way it was originally. But no, what they're going to do is rebuild this in the image of modern day France, which means Islam. I fully expect something like an arrow pointing east, Luke, or a Muslim wing of Notre Dame Cathedral, something multiculti, right? Not Christian anymore, something multiculti. And that will be disgraceful, man.
Like a hat tip or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, like a prayer rug somewhere in the cathedral.
A prayer room, yeah. A prayer room for Muslims who are touring it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really going to be despicable if that happens, and I'm sure it will. But you know, we'll see how this goes. But Macron himself has already said where it's going to go. In white pilling news about this, Westminster Castle in the UK burned to the ground in 1992. They hired a restorer to restore Westminster Castle to its original glory, and he did. And he came out saying, oh, yeah, man, no problem. Notre Dame, we can rebuild it exactly the same way it was. That's not a problem. It's going to cost some money, take some time. Yeah, no problem. If their intention is to do it the right way, like we did with Westminster Castle, this is no problem. We can reconstruct this easily. And that is very white pilling. So we'll see what happens.
And I saw something about that too. There was a video game. I think it was like Skyrim or
Skyrim. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like there was some video game where one of the maps, I guess, I don't play video games, so I'm sure there's somebody out here listening that's just like, oh my God. But it was some game that all these youngsters play. And then there's a map on there that includes the Notre Dame Cathedral. And it includes the Notre Dame Cathedral. And this map in this video game is like in detail. Everything about it is like they had some artist designer in there, and you could see every single brick was perfectly done, everything. So you can play this video game and exactly understand what it was before.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So that's
video
all the
games
modeling.
For the win.
Yeah, indeed, sir. All the 3D modeling necessary was done. The heavy lifting has already been done. We don't have to have somebody come in and remodel this now, which is what they're going to try to do. But we already have the model. I mean, if this is done in a video game, you can just kind of take this out of the video game, bring it into Autodesk software. There's your model. There's your 3D model right there.
Yeah, this is sort of related, but not really. There was another one that they did the same thing with Titanic. So you can download for free this like Titanic game. You can tour the entire Titanic. Every picture frame, everything is in detail, perfectly there. It's pretty crazy.
Yes, sir. And in fact, they used that model to reenact in animation the sinking of the Titanic, kind of like if you're on a lifeboat about 100 yards away watching the Titanic sink. Oh, man, in real time, exactly how everything went to when the ship broke in half, when people started jumping off, when the lifeboats were deployed, all of that. It is harrowing, but they used that model for that purpose for this animation, and it's got millions of views on YouTube. I highly recommend some night, if you don't have anything to watch, which, yeah, when is that ever going to happen? Watch this Titanic reconstruction of the sinking. It's scary. It's truly terrifying.
Yeah. Can you actually play it like a game? Like play
No, they just use that model to make a video, an animated video of what it would have.
So you can't be like, bitch, get off that raft. I'm saving myself. Like,
no, you can't sit there and play the violin while the ship sinks. No, you can't do any of this, man.
Yeah. You can't go MGTOW and just jump on the ship and not save the women and children first.
Yeah. Go around shooting people and all that. No, unfortunately, you can't do that.
Or you can't. What was like the big plot hole in the end of that? Or like the door? It was like there's plenty of space for Jack. He could still get on the door or whatever.
Oh yeah,
the little raft, and he just like chose to die instead needlessly.
Yeah, exactly, man. That cuck movie. I swear to God, man. I watched it in the theater, dude. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, he could have. And of course, he has his arms raised as he sinks beneath the waters. And like, yeah, he totally could have just held on to the piece of flotsam right there and he would have been fine, you know, but.
Yeah.
Got to make it sad though, man. Got to pull at them heartstrings. James Cameron is good at that. So there you go. For the masses, for hardened heartstrings like Luke and myself. Not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yes. you gotta untie this knot that my heartstrings are in before you're gonna start pulling on them.
Indeed, sir.
Well, we got dude, let's move on.
Yeah.
To the next one, man.
I can't wait for this, man. I can't wait.
All right, so dear listener, the WWE has come out with a new character. His name has always been Daniel Bryan. He's been around for like 10 years. And in professional wrestling, you have like you have like good characters and you have protagonists and antagonists, right? Just like any dramified story, but in WWE, in professional wrestling, when they do what's called turning a heel, it's when the character goes from good to bad. And there was like a match where this good guy turned into a bad guy. So now he's week over week, he's one of the villains, right? And so he had to reinvent himself. He had to reinvent his character in the show and or over the course of time. So his name is Daniel Bryan, and he has been reinvented as a as like a Bernie bro environmentalist. So when he won the championship of WWE, and his big thing is like he threw away the leather belt and he unveiled a wooden sustainable WWE champion belt, and everyone's booing him and everything. And so now he's this like anti-consumerist, liberal, leftist, environmentalist character. And we have a drop of this like little fake, it's an interview, but it's obviously scripted and everything. And well, I don't know how scripted it is, but it's not like a real interview. You know what I mean? It's like a part of the show. Right. And it's really funny. And I actually found out, Russ, like this guy in real life is actually an environmentalist, which really makes it even funnier.
Dang. Huh.
Unless WWE is on like meta layers of story or narrative preservation, plot preservation. It's like, okay, but if you're going to do this, you need to become a, real life shit lib.
Right.
You're going to have to vote for Bernie next time if you're going to play this character.
The ultimate evil that you could possibly be is this soy boy Bernie cuck, Yeah.
Yeah. So like the big villain in the WWE right now is a soy boy environmentalist. And we're going to play you this clip, this interview. So he's wearing like a plaid unbuttoned shirt with the sloth meme on the front of it, and he's all mad. He's ugly as hell. He's got his big nasty beard. His hair is like long and kind of greasy, and it just works. Do you want to play the clip, Russ?
Yeah. Here it comes right now, dear listener.
Calf crusher against the heel hook, and you're gonna see the styles clash against what used to be called the yes lock, but it's going back to its origins, and it's being called the label lock now because the yes movement is dead. So here's the thing, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I respect AJ Styles as a professional wrestler because he loves what we do in the ring. He spent his whole life fighting in the ring. But I do not respect AJ Styles as a person. And here's why. The exact same reason I don't respect these two. Look at what they're wearing. Look at what they're wearing right now. Do you know why they're wearing these shirts? To shill them. They're shilling them to you people. Why? So corporations can make more money. Do you want to know what one of the worst things for the planet is? Inorganic cotton. You think these are made out of organic cotton? Of course they're not. You know what AJ Styles does? He comes out to the ring every week wearing his shirt, wearing his gloves, and he may go out there and he may pour his heart out into wrestling, but he's also trying to get you to buy the gloves. He's getting you to buy the t-shirts. Guess what? The old Daniel Bryan, he used to care about that kind of stuff too. And he fought and he fought and he fought inside. And he's like, I shouldn't be selling these t-shirts, but that's a measure of success here in WWE. The higher ups are going to look at how many t-shirts I sell, and that's going to determine how successful they think I am. Well, guess what? The new Daniel Bryan doesn't care how many t-shirts they sell. They came out with a new shirt, said yes is dead. Do you think I'm wearing that shirt? No! All this stuff is secondhand. All this stuff is thrift. And you know why? Because I care about this planet. I care more than just being the WWE champion. But make no mistake about it. I need this championship to build my platform that consumerism needs to die. So AJ Styles, I am willing to throw everything at you tonight. Every single thing that can come into my mind, I will throw at you.
Oh my God. God tier, man. God tier. This
Dude,
is next level
great?
trolling, man. Yes.
Dude,
Yes.
it seriously makes me want to start watching the WWE.
Me too. Yeah.
When I was listening to this Kirk Wilcox stream, they were talking about it, and Kirk Wilcox was like, yeah, man, he's like, I was hanging out with some friends and they had WWE on, and I was like, why are you watching this WWE stuff? And he's like, I don't really watch it too often. And they explained to me that like this guy's the villain and he's like this big environmentalist, and Kirk was explaining, he was like, yeah, and then I got like super interested. I was like all for the other guy, and he ended up winning, and it was so I'm like, man, I kind of want to watch this.
Yeah, I just
too,
like, man.
Do you know how awesome that would be if Trump like came back and made a WWE appearance and like defeated Daniel Bryan?
Whoop Daniel Bryan's ass.
Yeah. God, if that happens.
Oh yes. Yeah, man. Well, I mean, he and Vince McMahon are buddies. You know what I mean? That's who he defeated the first. Wasn't it Vince McMahon that he tackled and hit with a chair and all that kind of stuff? The first time?
I think it was somebody else.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Trump's
all right.
like on the ground, like elbowing him in the head.
Yeah. Dude, it may be in the long game, man. Maybe this comes up right in 2020 campaign season or something like that. Trump comes out and whoops Daniel Bryan's ass. Oh, man. The election is over. Man. Oh.
God, dude, that would be so funny.
Yeah, it would.
All right, dude. Well, we're pushing the 2-hour mark here, so we still
All
got
right.
Lifestyle Challenge and GBS. So you wanna ride on?
Well, yeah, we also got Alex Jones in the house too. So
Yeah, I know. So I think we should do Lifestyle Challenge, and then we'll do Break 2 audio with Alex Jones, and then we'll hit GBS.
Okay, yeah, that works. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool, man. All right, so Lifestyle Challenge. For those dear listeners who are not aware, we another dear listener wrote in challenging us to a lifestyle challenge, which is basically just a way, just an opportunity for you to level up, to decide to level up and take advantage of your time here on this earth to its fullest extent possible. And we met that dear listener with that challenge. I'll give a quick update. By the way, I still have to put up the challenge. We keep track of this in the comment sections on posts that I don't put up. So I need to put up the week 3 post rather, so people can update. So, my progress on it has been going pretty well. There's a couple days at the gym that I missed here and there, but it had mostly to do with legitimate reasons like the cat and stuff like this. But other than that, like I've been going, 1 week I missed 3 days, but other than that, I've been going 5 or 6 days a week. And, it was actually kind of funny. I put on muscle like really easily. I also put on fat really easily. It's a double-edged sword, but, I lost like probably about 10 pounds, and then I put all of it back on, but still lost more fat. So I put on at least 10 pounds of muscle in like 4 weeks. It's been actually, I was lifting for a week before, coincidentally. So yeah, about 4 or 5 weeks I've put on like, I've had to have put on 10 pounds of muscle.
Good.
Yeah. So it's going well, feeling good, a little more mobile. My shoulder, I had shoulder surgery last summer, dear listener, if you're not aware. So I'm feeling good, man.
Good.
Feeling great, actually.
Good.
And going to continue doing it. There's a couple other things I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to get better hold of my finances. That's something I could be better at. And I wanted to do some other things like time management. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet, and maybe I still will. But my only formal goal was was physical health related, because that's the area of my life that's lacking, that needs the most attention. I'll put it that way. So in any case, what about you, Russ? What you
man,
got for us?
I'm cucking. I've got to be perfectly honest on this. I'm cucking. I haven't hit the yoga mat once in the last 2 weeks, and I have my own reasons as well. I've been extremely busy at work. This is going to be yet another horrible week at work. So I'm back-ended. This is what's up. I literally am going to have to get up at like 4:30 or 5 in the morning in order to work out, right? I've been drinking too much, partying too much. I've been watching too much hockey because the Stars are in the playoffs, and I've been working too much. And I'm not trying to sit here and cry about it. This is my bad. But, that's what this lifestyle challenge is, right? You fall off track, you can get back on easily. And that's what I'm going to do starting tomorrow. Probably not today. We've got to get the show out, and, probably not going to be today. You know what I mean? So
I think the lifestyle, the really core of the lifestyle challenge is like, take something that you want to improve upon and make a habit of it. I think if you try to distill it down to its most fundamental sense in terms of being a concept, I think that's what it would be. And so when I think about it for me is fitness, and yeah, man, it was rough, dude. I was sore for like a month straight. I'm just now to the point where I can really push myself in the gym and not be sore for 4 days afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I'm really disappointed about. Like that 2 weeks, I was really diligent and I was working hard, and I had just hit the point where I was getting out of soreness. Now 2 weeks down, I've got to go through it all again, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm really upset about this.
It won't be as bad though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
In fact, I've found a lot of times, like I'll take a week or two off the gym on accident. I go on vacation or something, and I have found that I come back and I'm actually significantly stronger than I was before.
Nice.
Because you've been pushing yourself so hard, your body sometimes can use like a good week or even 2 weeks, like as a reset. And I found that if I even take 3 weeks off, like I'm really not much beneath where I left off,
Good.
Your muscles don't forget, dude. I've lifted weights on and off my entire adult life. I would say more on than off, but and I've noticed every time, like it only takes me, it took wherever I left off, it only takes me 1 to 2 months to get back to where I was. No matter, your muscles don't forget. That is something I have figured out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for that encouragement, man. Thank you very much, because I have been dreading shaking off the dust. I shook off the dust once, fixing to shake off the dust again. Still have not gotten to the gym. And man, somebody I work with has been going to the gym and is getting impressive results. And I'm just so jealous, man. So I'm going to be hitting the gym here pretty quick as well.
Right on, dude.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Well, dear listener, it's never too late to join, even if it's for the remaining 4 weeks. You're welcome to, if you need a support group to open up to. And really, it's just about leveling up. It's leveling up your lifestyle. That's what this is all about. It's capitalizing. When we say capitalist, we mean that also not just politically, but in a lifestyle sense, which means to capitalize on your time here on Earth.
Yes.
You get one shot at life. Maybe you get two. I don't know, but you get one for sure.
That's all we can prove. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you got this one. So you got to make the best of it while you're here on this earth, and that's what the lifestyle challenge is. It is a booster shot, a steroid shot, metaphorically.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, man.
And we do have dear listeners that are participating. Things are going well for them, and because I hear reports like, it's working. Luke, we're encouraging people. We got to support.
So are there people doing it that don't comment?
Oh yeah. Well,
really?
They don't comment. No, they don't comment. I'll talk to you about that offline. They don't comment, but they do
that's
comment
cool.
to me.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been putting the posts up because I'm just like, Jesus, it's like me and 1 or 2 other people.
Yeah, no,
that are doing it.
It's more of us than that. It is more of us. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, man, now I'm encouraged. Now I feel bad.
Yeah, no, man, it's all good. Don't worry. It's all good. I mean, man, taxes, spring, Amy, playoffs, working like dogs, both you and myself working like dogs, man. And so, things happen. It's all good. It's all good, man. So,
all right, dude. Well, speaking of drinking too much, you want to play this Alex Jones clip?
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
All right, dear listeners. So we have, oh God, this is so good. Alex Jones, he went on, I don't know what it is, Russ. I'll talk about it here in a second, but like Alex Jones, he went on the Joe Rogan show, I don't know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago,
something like that.
Yeah. And it was a 4.5 hour show, and it was some of the best it will go down as one of, if not the single best podcast that has ever been done ever.
I would agree.
It is hilarious. Philosophically, it's empiricism versus rationalism, which is hilarious. Which is, when you're talking about these flat earthers, they're just, total empiricists. Then you get the Alex Joneses, the conspiracy theorists about spider goats, when it's just total rationalism. And it's just hilarious to watch them go at it. Alex Jones is such a god tier entertainer.
He is.
He is just so funny. I don't know what it is, Russ. This is what I was going to say a minute ago. I don't know what it is about him. It's like he's just like this big cuddly bear, that's just like, there's something comforting about just like sort of having I don't listen to his show. I've tried to listen to his show. I don't find it particularly informative. First of all, I can't really trust anything that he says. And it's hit or miss in terms of being comedic. But when he's on other people's podcasts, I can't get enough of it, dude. I could just listen to it over and over again. It's so funny. And so he went on, to fill you in on context to your listeners. So he went on to Logan Paul. Now, Logan Paul is a famous YouTuber. Qua the internet, he's famous. He did a boxing match against another YouTuber, KSI, which was kind of funny because KSI is this British black guy, and Logan Paul could not be more white. And, the whole 4chan world was like, this is the last stand in the ground for whites, and, blowing it up into this ridiculous thing. It was a tie, just so you know. But, so Logan Paul, just started this podcast, and he invites Alex Jones on it. So it's Alex Jones, who's much older, and then these young kids, I would assume they're all in their mid to late 20s. And, God, listen to me over here. These young kids in their mid to late 20s, but
right.
And whatever the case, they are. They're just. They think they're like very LA and very cool, except for one guy. One guy's on there it seems like a legitimately cool dude. Logan Paul just seems stoned and out of his element. The other guy is too stoned to really even say anything at all. So there's three of them on this show with Alex Jones, and Alex Jones is just AMOGing the whole show. And for those who don't know what AMOGing is, that's an acronym which means alpha male of the group. So when used as a verb, it's expressing alpha male dominance over a group of people so as to co-opt all of the attention for yourself. And yes. But in Alex Jones's case, it's in a hilarious way. That's why it's so funny. It's just these kids getting AMOGed by this much older, much more informed person who has had 20 to 30 years of just radio broadcasting experience, so he knows how to speak and think off the cuff and be funny, and it's just hilarious. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Russ, or do you want to hit play?
No, man, I think you covered it. It is it's just one of these things. I do listen to InfoWars from time to time. I do like it, but man, Alex Jones gets deplatformed right and left, almost taken out of the internet entirely. PayPal canceled. And he comes back rip-roaring like this, man. Alex Jones is on the ascendant, man. Yeah,
dude. That's actually why it's so funny now that I think about it. Because he got deplatformed. Everyone's like, oh, my God. And they're freaking out. And then he just is like, all right, cool. I'm doing a podcast tour. And now he's like, everybody's like, you look at the comments section, everyone's like, I love Alex Jones. There's a hashtag free Alex Jones now. And it's just so the left, they just cannot win. They can't win. Yeah. They stand in opposition to reality, and they're just losing and losing and losing and losing everywhere, in every way. It's hilarious. Yeah. Enjoy these times.
Yes, indeed.
I hope they continue. Let the good times roll on, because this is just hilarious.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that's all I got. So, how much you want to play, Luke? You want to take about another 7 minutes this time? I mean, it takes about 7 minutes to get to this climax that you played for me on Friday Night Comfy Post last week. So it takes 7 minutes to get there anyway, but we could probably play another couple minutes.
What minute marker are you?
34 even. I'm at 34 even. The one. I'm at the one. Yeah, the one that you sent me on Friday night. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That's perfect. Play it from there, and I think that we'll take about 10 to 12 minutes, something like that.
All right, dear listener, 10 to 12 minutes, real time. Be back at you before you know it. Thank you. Before we go, thank you so much for riding along with us. We hope you're having as much fun as we are. Back at you in 10 to 12. Enjoy.
Yeah, I'm going to listen, by the way.
But the dude is...
All right, here
just
comes.
making shit up.
Wait a minute. He said he would get out of the TPP. He did that.
He did that. He also said he wouldn't spend as much time playing golf as fucking Obama. He plays golf every fucking day of his life.
Hold on, not every day. That's something he did criticize Obama.
Yeah.
For playing too much golf, and you're right. You're right. You got it.
Oh, shit.
We need Hillary. Hillary.
No, Ed, do not do that. Listen to me. I
want Hillary to give me milk.
No, stop.
I want to
sitting right next to her. We don't know what it's like.
Drink her. Hillary. I want you, Hillary. I want your milk. Like Romulus and Remus. I want him to hang down. I want your milk, Hillary. Give me your milk.
You heard it here on Impulsive. Give him the milk.
My
man needs some milk.
I will never do that chant with you. I don't want her either. But I did see you.
I'm not gonna lie. I got a crush on her. Hillary, meet me in Vegas, baby. I'm ready.
Ooh, shit! Y'all going to Marquis?
But I'm marrying Hillary, baby.
There we go.
But she is my president.
No, but she talked shit about you a little bit.
Oh no,
I saw that. No, it's all good. It was low key.
No, we actually have already been dating.
That's tight.
That's a joke, by the way. Jones outrageously. Did you see Carpe Donkum, the great meme maker? Got 40 million views or whatever on Facebook and all other places and Twitter. And then Bryan Stelter goes, he tried to deceive the public and showed Biden groping Biden. This is the fake news we're talking about, and it's very dangerous. What do? Let's turn to our panel. And if you play the Carpe Donktum meme, it's Biden groping Biden. It's a joke. It's not a fucking fake news. God damn it. It's fucking a joke. Sorry.
No, it's good. It is.
It's a family show.
Yeah.
No. I can't argue with him on that. Listen,
you don't know the danger and the sexism and racism of people like Alex Jones and what a virus he is. I only have 100,000 viewers. We have to pay to put me on in different places like bars and restaurants and, well, of course, in train stations and airports and hotels. But I'm going to tell you, because I'm Bryan Stelter, that we need to do things like take Logan Paul off the air.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how to react right now.
Just bring over the big man.
No, hold on.
He left.
Well, here's why this is interesting.
He smelled like.
Because
gotcha.
I've never seen someone that stoned.
Your energy is crazy. It's awesome. I'm not quite used to it.
I didn't have that Thunderbolt strike, though. You hit me.
But listen, I'm looking at your guys.
Hold on, are you looking at me with laser?
No. What are you doing? Oh, shit. Alex Jones is going down on the set of Impulsive. He's done. We lost him. He's done.
We're having some fun with your audience.
No, but I'm looking at your people. Yeah, you got it. These guys are unfazed, bro. They're not even paying attention.
They've seen us before.
All the Impulsive is like, is Alex Jones about to murder someone? Yeah, but this is just a typical average Tuesday. No, but I like this,
you can make jokes about this, but CNN deserves to be in charge.
Have you considered a career in Hollywood?
You realize you have 10 times the audience of CNN.
Yeah,
Logan Paul, you're a bad person.
Your impersonations
and you have a white supremacist on your show.
They're incredible.
Alex, I gotta cut you one more thing, and then let's ask Logan's question. Question for you: You've had a ton of shit from the left. And from Hillary and the left, right?
That's just because he's mad I left her.
Endless, but I saw you get in a fucking rumble with Rubio the other day.
That wasn't the other day.
The other year.
6 months ago.
The other month. My bad.
No, it's okay. Whatever. It was lately.
Yeah, what happened there, man?
Tussle.
Can I do it in Bryan Stelter's voice?
No, please don't.
Okay.
It's starting to worry me.
I know, it's bad.
I'm scared.
Do it in Jimmy Savile's voice.
I'm not going to lie, though. Only person gets me hotter than my wife is Hillary or Bryan Stelter. My dream
you got a wife?
Is a menage a trois between me, Bryan Stelter, and Hillary. Hey, it's legal now. I'm gay for Bryan Stelter. Only for you, baby. You're so manly. You're so powerful. You're so real. Your destiny lies with me, Stelter. Join me and I will complete your training. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. I am your father. I can complete your training, Stelter. All right, sorry. What was the question?
I don't think you should be doing what you're doing. You are an entertainer. You should be in Hollywood as an actor.
Or a linebacker.
Or a linebacker. No, speaking of that, your breakaway speed. Your breakaway speed is incredible. This is what I'm saying. No, seriously, this is amazing. Where did you get this type of breakaway speed?
You're not an intellectual, Joe. You're a fake and a fraud.
shit.
Brother, you are quick. Fast. That's a D1 athlete.
Oh, yeah, right.
What was the look in that guy's eyes when you caught up to him?
Well, no, you're walking around Seattle and everybody's like, fuck you, Russian, fuck you, Russian. And they all run once they, if you watch the full video, after like 10 of these, my camera guy goes, let's get off the streets. This is dangerous. And then a guy right after that dumps coffee on me.
I saw that.
Goblin, a literal goblin. Vampire potbelly goblin appeared.
Vampire potbelly.
Hobbling around.
Where does this fire come from? What drives the paranoia? And is it fucking real, Alex? Is this all real, or are you doing it to fucking buy a Maserati?
It's a persona, Alex.
Do you want a Maserati?
Maseratis are not that fast.
You want a fat whip?
Mine goes 185. You know the song? Obviously.
Yeah.
I'll just go fuck myself.
My Maserati goes
185. Yeah.
I'm not looking for that.
Where does the fire come from? You should be pumping up football teams before games, Alex. This is incredible.
Unlock your human potential!
Let's go!
The globalists who want to shutter your mind, your doorways to perception. I want to see you truly live.
Let's go.
I want to see you truly be who you are.
Alex, come on, my guy.
You asked a really good question. What was the question before I went crazy?
Where's the fire come from?
But what was the question before that?
Where's the paranoia come from? Talk to me about your childhood. Did anything, what happened with your parents? Talk to me about your fucking parents, dude.
All right, dear listener, welcome back to HSP episode number 35. I hope you enjoyed that. That was so good, dude.
Sure did. I think it's even funnier to watch, like there's something lost in only audio format about this, because Alex Jones really is sitting here freaking out. And yes, it is intentional hysterics, histrionics, for sure. You know what I mean? And it's fun to watch as well as to listen to, man. So yeah, I enjoyed it in audio format alone. So just to be fair, I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was great, man. He's just so good. There's so many times when they ask him questions in there, especially like when they accuse him of, admit it, this is an act, and he just totally deflects.
Yeah.
This is when we say like he's amogging. He just knows how to deal with this.
Yeah,
these sorts of questions, and when they try to get him to deflect and things like this, it doesn't faze him.
Yeah.
Well, sorry for the language.
Yeah, there's that. Our bad, dear listener. We try to keep a sort of clean show here. I mean, we're not necessarily family friendly, but we try to keep it professional. And this was definitely not professionalism, but like nonetheless, we hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love that part when Logan Paul's like, I don't know how to react to this right now.
I don't know what to say, bruh. I don't know how to.
So good, man.
Yeah, man. Alex Jones, I respect, sir. Definite respect. Thank you very much. And cannot emphasize enough that Joe Rogan podcast with Alex Jones, man. Our buddy in San Francisco and Nate we were all on our text thread talking about this, and like I said, man, our buddy in San Francisco is like, man, this has spider monkeys, this has aliens, this has bug guts, it's got everything. It did, man.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah. So I got to tell you something before we roll on, Luke. So it's a beautiful day here in Texas. Absolutely gorgeous. Perfect Easter Sunday. And there's this biker gang out here outside my window right now. And they just pulled over. Like there's about, there are 13 of them, right? And they just pulled over here into the parking spots, and they all pulled out their phones. And they're sitting here checking their phones right now, dude. I've never seen anything like it. Can you hear this? I hope you can't hear it. I've got my noise gate on, man, so I hope you can't hear this. They're rumbly.
I can't hear anything. That's hilarious, though. Maybe they're all like posting to Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, riding in the country today. It's such a beautiful, beautiful day.
Feeling cute. Might delete later.
Yeah. Easter Day bike ride, hashtag. Yeah. But they look pretty rough, man. My phone's in the other room, man. I can't take a picture. If they stay here for a minute, I'll run grab my phone and
probably checking to see if the new episode of HSP is posted yet.
That's it. Of course they are. That's exactly what it is, man. What's up? We're 2 weeks out, man. Where's the next HSP?
Yeah.
Indeed, sir. All right, so we grab bag now?
Yeah, let's do it, dude.
All right, man. So I've had a little bit more to drink than you have. I'm going to be having a problem saying the name Zizek right now.
Zizek. See, I paced myself.
Zizek. Yeah. See.
Yeah. Okay. So let me. I've got a few things to say about this. So dear listener, you should be acquainted with Jordan Peterson. If you aren't, you've had your head in the sand. But Jordan Peterson, he is. I think he's on a sabbatical right now, but he was a professor with the University of Toronto, I believe, who became famous a year or two ago for coming out against politically controlled speech, specifically as it relates to trans issues and using pronouns and things like this. And a few months ago, he lined up a debate with Dr. Zizek, Slavoj Zizek. Now, Zizek is a Marxist, although he says in this debate, I watched it in its entirety last night, and he says actually in the debate that he's more of a Hegelian than a Marxist. So, which I found kind of I found that kind of surprising. I'm going to go, and he said because Hegel was more open to certain ideas. Now I know a lot more about Marx than I do Hegel. I haven't gotten around to reading much Hegel. So, that is somebody that is on my hit list of people that I want to read and understand more. So, unfortunately, I'm not prepared to really comment on Hegel, but anyways, I'll give a kind of a brief rundown of this debate, which finally ended up happening on Friday, on Good Friday. And, I've been really excited about it. I've been really waiting. I thought Zizek was going to, I thought the debate would be his to lose because Jordan Peterson, in my opinion, he does not understand philosophy as well as he thinks he does. I know that for a fact because I've heard him use words like metaphysics and epistemology in a totally inappropriate context. And like, for example, he accused Sam Harris of having Christian metaphysics, which is to say that Sam Harris believes that in the existence of an afterlife and the existence of an alternate universe to which we go after we die, which is just totally absurd and ridiculous on its face. What he meant to say is that Sam Harris holds Christian ethics, which Sam Harris actually does.
I remember that. Yeah, and, I remember that.
But he said metaphysics because people just love that word because it makes them sound smart. So Jordan Peterson does not understand philosophy nearly as well as he thinks he does, whereas Zizek is an actual philosopher. He's written 30-some-odd books, and you can disagree with his ideas vehemently, but he understands what he's talking about. Now, let me preface this debate, this Grab Bag special, by saying that they are both insufferably tangential the way they speak. It's just constant tangents, constant deflection. What I found interesting, and now I'm just kind of providing some open commentary here because I wanted to, and maybe I'll do some writing about it, but I don't want to listen to the whole debate, and that'll take me many, many hours to do, but to listen to the debate and then write on it. But so I'm just using this as an opportunity to provide some commentary. I found it incredibly boring. It was incredibly boring. Jordan Peterson uses his first 30-minute constructive. So the debate opens with two 30-minute constructives, one for each, which I found was way too long. The subject of the debate was communism or capitalism, which I don't remember the exact title, but which generates the most happiness, right? Which is in and of itself kind of a utilitarian understanding. It really should be, which is the moral system, but so they have two 30-minute constructives. The first thing I noticed is that in each of the two constructives, neither one of them defined any of the three concepts that this debate involves. Neither of the two defined capitalism, neither of the two defined communism, and neither of the two defined happiness. And so I was just like, what the hell is going on here? And
dang, man.
So Jordan Peterson kind of just goes on about what's wrong with Marxism. Then Zizek comes in his constructive and just goes on about who knows what. He is, and the other thing about this is they both, in my opinion, their voices are not aesthetic. They're not pretty to listen to, especially Zizek. He's like, the capitalism.
God.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. So we'll try to keep the sound segments short, because it's very hard to listen to. especially Zizek. But all in all, Russ, I was super disappointed in the debate. I thought it was basically a complete waste of time. I thought that Jordan Peterson, and this is the thing about Jordan Peterson that really irks me, is that, you know, he did a debate at the Ayn Rand Institute. He was he was so gung-ho. He was like very forthright and like, you know, these should be like more or less his allies. And then he gets in there with, you'll hear it. He gets in there with Zizek and he's like, hey man, you know, we're just here having a polite conversation, you know, let's put the knives away. And Zizek's kind of the same way, you know. In fact, Zizek actually says, I'll put the knife away, you know, and at the end, they ask at the end of the debate, the moderator's like, if there's one thing that you want the listener of this debate to walk away with, what would it be? Jordan Peterson's answer was, I just hope people can walk away with the knowledge that two people can come together and discuss ideas. It wasn't like,
Jesus. Wow.
It wasn't, I hope you walk away with the idea that communism ruins and destroys millions of lives, and it has repeatedly over and over and over again because of what it is. It's anti-human nature. It's metaphysically impossible to carry out. That's why it's so destructive. No, it was, you know, I hope people can understand that, yeah, you can have a discussion with a communist and it's okay. And it's like, yeah, you can. Okay. I know somebody that's in my extended family that's a Marxist, and we can have a discussion, but we're not on a debate stage. When you're on a debate stage, that's a different story. That's a time for you to prove a point. That's a time to make a stand, to put out ideas and defend those ideas, not to just, hey man, let's have a conversation, you know?
Yeah.
So I was really, really disappointed in Jordan Peterson, especially given the context of the debates he's done with the past, specifically with the Ayn Rand Institute, who, you know, if anybody should be able to adequately defend capitalism on moral grounds, it should be them. And Jordan Peterson was like not having it with them. Oh, but put him on stage with a Marxist, and now let's have a friendly conversation.
Kumbaya. Yeah, right.
It's
That's
really
very disappointing.
Yeah, it's really telling. It's really telling. The other thing I was going to say about Jordan Peterson, and I'm sorry, dear listener, if you're a Jordan Peterson fan, I just have more to say about him than I do Zizek on this grounds, because it's just one is more contradictory than the other, and that would be Jordan Peterson, is that when Jordan Peterson, he fell back on this, I think, was it Winston Churchill, Russ, when Winston Churchill said, maybe it wasn't him, I'm not sure, that capitalism is a terrible system, but at least it's better than all the others, something to that effect.
I believe that was Churchill. Yes.
Yeah. And Jordan Peterson, he's like, and I totally believe that. It's a terrible system, but it's better than anything else we've tried. And I was just like, oh, great. Like that's what a great pillar to stand upon there, JP. Yeah. Thank you for laying out the premises. So, and I also noticed one last thing in Jordan Peterson's first constructive. He just like straight away, before Zizek even opened his mouth, I noticed this. Before Zizek, he didn't even have to say anything, and Jordan Peterson just agreed with all of his premises straight away. I was like, good God, dude, we need people who actually understand capitalism on moral grounds and who are principled and can lay out the case for freedom and liberty, because the supposed best proponent of that is Jordan Peterson, and he failed miserably on Friday. Miserably. He could not have done a worse job defending capitalism, and that was what he was there to do. So I am sorry, any dear listeners who are Jordan Peterson fans. He is not your shaman. Is that the best way to put it, Russ?
Yeah, something like that is good enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So sorry to disappoint you, but actually, no, I'm not sorry. If anything, I'm sorry for exposing you to the reality that is Jordan Peterson. So should we get on with it, Russ?
Yeah, definitely. And what we do, Grab Bag Special 4, just to remind you, is that we try to make our fellow travelers better. We try to call them out for their errors, and we try to, gird their loins, for lack of a better word, and make them stronger going forward, right? Now, Luke, I've got to tell you, I'm not too optimistic about this Grab Bag Special because, number one, I'm going in cold. Number two, dang, that's not at all. We've been looking forward to this debate for, 4 months now?
Yeah,
something like
about
since
4
the beginning
months,
of the year. Yeah. And it was $15 to pay to watch this debate. $15. And man, I'm not optimistic about this GBS whatsoever. I mean, capitalism in action by both actors on this stage. Nonetheless, man, I'm glad that I didn't pay $15 to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pay $15. I just somebody just had it streaming on YouTube. Why am I going to pay $15 when it's just streaming on YouTube?
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
So I'm discouraged, but I'll approach it with an open mind. But I'm black-pilled as to the text of it. And once again, dear listener, I'm going in cold on this. I've not watched any of it, none whatsoever.
Yeah, I predict. I think we should do 2 drops. I mean, I did all this commentary, so let's just do 2. Let's do 2 drops. If we want to do more, we can. But I predict what's going to happen is it's just going to be just in the weeds nonsense. And I'm going to have to struggle, and you will too, Russ. I have to struggle to find something to comment on because it's going to be so tangential. Who knows how many tangents deep there'll be when we land on the clip that we'll have to figure our way out of. I mean, Jordan Peterson's, well, I don't want to say more about it, but Jordan Peterson's first constructive is basically just sort of not hollow, but just, very basic bitch economic criticisms of Marxism. That's his whole first constructive. Nothing moral, nothing epistemological, nothing metaphysical, just very surface level economic, it doesn't work arguments. Which is
okay.
Anyways, why don't we just jump straight into minute 25?
All right. Minute 25 coming at you. I'm at 25:08. Here it is.
All right.
With the proletariats, and that nothing that capitalists did constituted valid labor, which is another thing that Marx assumed, which is palpably absurd, because people who are, maybe if you're a dissolute aristocrat from 1830 or earlier, and you run a feudal estate and all you do is spend your time gambling and chasing prostitutes, well, then your labor value is 0. But if you're running a business and it's a successful business, first of all, you're a bloody fool to exploit your workers, because even if you're greedy as sin, because you're not going to extract the maximum amount of labor out of them by doing that. And the notion that you're adding no productive value as a manager rather than a capitalist,
right there,
it's absolutely...
Yeah. That right there is already agreeing to premises.
Yep.
It's
it is.
You don't exploit labor. It's agreed upon or it's not. And if it's not, then it's slavery. There's no in between. There's no exploitation going on here.
Right.
If somebody's labor, if somebody is being paid less for their labor than they feel that they are worth, or they observe that they are worth, then they just go somewhere else. They find another job for someone else. I've personally lost employees that way. I've been an employee that's been lost that way. I've gone to other companies because they recruited me and wanted to pay me more. There's nothing about you don't, you just know that you shouldn't exploit your employees because, and then this is the next terrible premise is because if you don't, then you'll be able to maximize, what was it, return on the value or something ridiculous. It's just these this very Marxist language that he is speaking with. It's he's just assuming everybody in the entire auditorium is all Marxist, so he's going to just speak in their language. Obviously,
that's what I was going to say. It sounds like he's trying to get out in front of the capitalist exploitation argument, but by doing so, he buys into the frame of exploitation of labor. Right?
Yes.
He argues on those premises.
Exactly.
Right? And he should not have even gotten out in front of it at all. He should have let that argument come to him after Zizek's constructive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you get out,
this is an unforced error.
Yeah.
This is absolutely unforced error.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you get out in front of these things, you're just sort of admitting it before you even need to. It's
exactly.
You're just oh, no. But I know I'm going to get accused of this, but let me say why I'm innocent before you accuse me.
Yeah.
It's so pathetic, man.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to say.
Where is Candace Owens when you need her, man? My God, she could have manhandled this.
Yeah.
Sorry, woman handled this. My bad.
Yeah, man. Come on, sorry. What else? There was something else I wanted to say about that, having to do with exploitation of labor. I mean, he could have just said labor is not exploited. If so, it's slavery and it should be against the law. Period.
Yep.
There's no this is what it is. He's using this very practical argument. This is this gets under my skin. Dennis Prager does this. All of the The neocons do this, except even the neocons are even worse. A lot of Ben Shapiro even does this. Like basically everybody who is trying to defend capitalism, all of them do this because none of them are willing to defend it on moral grounds. They don't want to get into that because they don't actually agree with it morally. Their philosophy is too much in conflict with that, with the morality of capitalism, which is it's a system of self-interest. That's what it is. Accept it. Move on. Like it's okay. So they all have to like do this song and dance of the markets, right? They're like, no, exploitation's possible, but we need free markets because they're gonna punish people who exploit. They're just gonna punish people. That's why we need free markets. It's just more practical. I agree with you that this is all exploitation. It's just that free markets minimize the exploitation. So it's a total pragmatist argument, which, again, we've said this on shows in the past. People don't care about what works. People care about what's right. So when you have two people offering you alternatives and one person says, oh, my system is better because it minimizes the problem. And then somebody else comes to you and says, I don't care about minimization. I care about eliminating the problem. Which person are you going to go with? You're going to go with the person who's principled and they're like, I am eliminating the problem out of principle. And then the other person's like, oh, no, that's let's just try to minimize it using this, more easy way. And that's why I say it's like a free markets are the easy way. You're not taking a big risk. You're just going to try to minimize it with you're like, no, you just tell both of them, no. You don't need free markets to minimize exploitation. You don't need communism to eliminate exploitation. You need to explain to me how it's exploitation. You need to explain to me why two people shouldn't be free to transact with one another, to form a symbiotic relationship of labor and value.
Right.
Explain to me how that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like why people shouldn't be free to transact with one another in a marketplace as such at all.
Yeah.
Explain to me how that is exploitation.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peterson is just buying into this premise and offering up the pragmatic argument, pragmatic defense of capitalism, which is that it works better at solving the problems. And,
right.
The communists are trying to ban the problems.
Right. It should have been laid out in two sentences, right? The definition of communism is this: from each according to their abilities, to each according to their needs. That is the definition of communism. That is exploitation of labor. It is exploiting ability, right? And you read this sentence,
that's a good point.
Here's the fundamental premise of communism, right? Finally, we have a system which rewards labor. After all of these centuries of slavery and all of this kind of business that's gone on, finally, we have a system that rewards your work and move on right there.
Yep.
Don't get out there in the weeds about, I'm going to get a little bit hit about, exploitation of labor. So I'm going to go out and say something that's not even been said yet in this debate. And I'm just going to defend a premise that's not been argued and blah, 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 blah. It was a serious unforced error, a misstep.
Totally.
Right there.
Totally, man. You nailed it. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the way you get around this is you just say, why should I not be free to go form a relationship, a wage labor relationship? Here's my time and my ability. You pay me money. How is that? And they'll say, oh, well, that's exploitation, man. How is that? It's not exploitation. That's an opportunity for me to generate value and be paid for it. How is that exploitation? That's not exploitation.
Right.
I mean, when I came to Germany, I couldn't speak the language. I had a background in sales and I was unemployed. I couldn't do anything. What did I do? I went and flipped burgers at a restaurant for next to nothing. It was pride swallowing. I had 10 years of professional experience. And what was I doing in my mid 30s flipping burgers? And I, on my own time, took a programming course, taught myself, built a couple websites, and that got me a job as an, entry level at another company. And now I'm a team lead, and my life is great, and I'm making pretty good money. I'm not super wealthy, but I'm doing okay.
Luke learned to code, brah.
I literally learned to code. That is not a meme. And, so I just look at it exploitation, great. Getting exploited allowed me to, now I have this awesome job and I drive a nice car and it's fantastic. I am so thankful I was exploited. It's been great. It was a great experience.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, I'm not going to litigate it in these hallowed halls at this moment, but Luke and I went through the crucible, dear listener, seriously, both of us did, kind of in similar time frames. Luke went first. He blazed the trail for me. I went after the fact, and we both went through pride-swallowing times of our lives to get to where we're at right here in these hallowed halls of HSP. I mean, I'll tell you about it sometime. You know, there are dear listeners who know about what was up with what went on. But
for sure.
I went through a similar time as Luke. You know what I mean? And I'm so grateful for it. I learned many new skills, met a lot of new friends, saw the flip side of the illegal immigration argument. I'm dear friends with numerous illegal immigrants right now, and I'm grateful for all of that experience.
Yeah, dude,
you know,
I actually was an illegal immigrant.
Well, yeah.
Literally, man, I went through that. Like, I couldn't speak the language. I came here on a visa with expecting to find a job, and and I gotta, these people, they're like, oh, pulling up yourself up by the bootstraps is that's not so easy. Well, yeah, it's not, but you have to be willing to do it. If you're not willing to do it, of course it's impossible. But I mean, I went from having a job making really good money. I was like a high end, wage earner in the United States, and went from there to flipping burgers with Iraqi and Syrian and Turkish refugees. Well, the Turks weren't refugees, but I was literally working with Iraqi and Syrian refugees. I was among them, working with them every single day for many, many months until I got myself into a better situation. So like this whole pull yourself by the bootstraps, labor exploitation, give me a break. Like, cry me a river. All right. Just
indeed, sir.
Toughen up, swallow your pride, put some food on the table, and start figuring your way into the next opportunity. It's not rockets. It's hard. It's hard work, but it's not rocket science.
Indeed, sir.
All right, dude, let's move on to the next one and then call this show How Easy. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it. That was actually good, man. I liked that drop, man. That was and by the way, that was minute 25, dear listener. That was Jordan Peterson's quote unquote constructive. And by the way, these constructives should have been limited to about 5 minutes apiece, in my humble opinion, not 30 minutes of
they should have
nonsense.
They should have done like 10 and 10 and then 5 and 5 after that.
Yeah, exactly. And this time frame, this huge time frame of 30 minutes, I believe has a lot to do with why Jordan Peterson self-immolated and hung himself out to dry in his very premises.
Yeah, that was the other thing, man. Jordan Peterson seemed very unprepared for this.
Oh, really?
At the very end of everything that he was saying, he was always just kind of like, I've never seen him so unprofessional and unprepared. He was just kind of like, yeah. And so that's what I think about that. All right. Okay. And that was like the end of like all of his constructed. I was like, wow. It's like, dude, you don't seem prepared. All right, let's jump to let's just do Zizek's something and Zizek's constructive and then call it. What do you say?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm at 39. He's speaking. He's reading, in fact.
He reads.
Take it at 39.
Yeah.
He does really. He did the heavy lifting.
He wrote out a 30-minute constructive and then read it.
Dang. Okay. All right. 39 minutes. You want to hear it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here it comes.
And I, the participants in this duel of the century.
Oh my God, dude. The sound of his mouth already is getting me triggered. Okay.
Yeah. Right. But fast forward. Sorry. This is at the very, very beginning. Go to like minute. Okay. You started at 39, right?
Yes, sir.
Go to minute like 50 or 55.
All right. I'm at 50 dead on. Here it is.
Expresses the rejection to confront the fact that the phenomena they criticize as the effect of the cultural Marxist plot, moral degradation, sexual promiscuity, consumerist hedonism, and so on, are the outcome of the immanent dynamic of capitalist societies. I would like to refer to a classic, Danial, Cultural Contradictions of Capitalism, written back in 1976, where the author argues that the unbounded drive of modern capitalism undermines the moral foundations of the original Protestant ethics. And in a new afterword, Bell offers a bracing perspective on contemporary Western societies, revealing the crucial cultural fault lines we face as the 21st century is here. The turn towards culture as a key component of capitalist reproduction and, concomitant to it, the commodification of cultural life itself, are, I think, crucial moments of capitalist expanded reproduction. So the term cultural Marxism, I think, plays the same role as that of the Jewish plot in anti-Semitism. It projects or transposes some immanent antagonism, however you call it, ambiguity, tension, of our socio-economic life onto an external cause. In exactly the same way, now let me give you a different, more problematic example.
Dude,
exactly the same way.
Yeah.
This is the problem with Zizek. He throws out a lot of abstract, pretty sounding stuff. And then just sort of moves on to another tangent. It's like, now I would like to blah, 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 and quote this author and say this thing. And so you can see that today and blah, 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 in the same way in which blah, blah, blah. And so you see that blah, 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 just like back when blah, and this is the way I've watched a lot of Zizek, and this is the way he rolls. He just moves from one very abstract concept, very, very abstract, I should say. Very abstract concept to the next very abstract concept to the next very abstract. I mean, think about everything that he just said. Socioeconomic exchange of culture.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell does that even mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and he was talking about cultural Marxism there, which he never. This is when you know, and I don't know if this is that Zizek doesn't really understand what he's talking about. I doubt that. He probably does. He's probably just a really poor orator. Perhaps he's a poor thinker and doesn't understand things clearly. Because I've noticed over time that a telltale sign of when somebody doesn't really understand something is when they dance around it and describe it and tell stories and reference people and all of this, and they just don't say what it is. And Zizek is like the master of this. He's just like, and there's this author, and then and maybe this is the professor coming out in him, where he's just like, Russ, I have this theory where like professors are actually, in my opinion, some of the worst orators because they just have a captive audience. They just sort of fall into this routine, and then that's what they do. And people have to be there. They have to come. There's no competition. Like, people sign up for your class and then they have to be there so it's like, what impetus do you have to improve or be a good orator or be a good speaker? Now, many professors are great at it, but I think you get these like sort of Zizek types where you've got this captive audience and you're just going to go on these like beautiful tangents, and then the class walks away, and then afterwards they're just like, I have no idea what the hell he was just talking about. But
well, that's my feeling about everything right there, Luke. I could not get to the bottom of what he's trying to argue, what he's trying to say, what he means. I have no idea, dude.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
And that's it. I mean, it's just a dazzling string of abstracted ideas. That's all it is. And I listened to his whole constructive. At the end of it, it was just, I mean, what are you going to make of it? I mean, with Jordan Peterson, I could at least understand, like, okay, they're weak cases, they're unprincipled, it's pragmatic, but at least I know what he's saying. I know what he's doing.
Right.
It's like Zizek, it's like he's trying to be like Kant. If you've ever actually tried to read Immanuel Kant, it's the same thing. It is so excruciatingly difficult to try to read that you're like, what the hell are you even on about? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Leonard Peikoff. He was the intellectual heir to Ayn Rand. I was listening to one of his podcasts one time, and someone had asked him, and he had this long running Q&A podcast, and somebody had asked him, like, hey, would you recommend reading Kant? Like, do you need to read Critique of Pure Reason, or is it enough to read like a good summary of it? And Peikoff was like, and he was a professor of philosophy for a long time, and he was like, it's not that you shouldn't read Critique of Pure Reason, you can't read Critique of Pure Reason. That's what he said. And he was like, as a professor, he was like, I made it my task to read through every sentence and understand and conceptualize every sentence. And he was like, it was so much work that it's impossible and not worth even trying. Don't just find a reputable, trustworthy source that summarizes it and read that. Do not waste your time. And I feel much the same way about Zizek as well.
Because I would throw Derrida into that mix as well. Same thing with Derrida.
Yeah.
And now, as I would also say that Michel Foucault, while I think he is a shithead, and I used to worship him, man, a shithead and a shitty professor and a shitty philosopher, right? Like, he really builds a case meticulously and proves every last bit of it until he gets to the end of his polemic and makes this grand slam argument. So, like, it's kind of fun to read. I'll be honest. It's kind of fun to read. But, like, I hear you, man. It's so easy to get indirect with philosophy. It's philosophical abuse, if we may coin the term.
Masturbation is what it is.
Masturbation, dude. That's it. Philosophical masturbation. But the shit libs loved it. You heard them, dear listener. They're sitting there clapping for Zizek, you know. They loved it, you know. So, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
To be fair, it seemed like a pretty even crowd. Like, Peterson got a lot of claps too. You know, it wasn't. It just happened to be it happened to be the case that we heard the people clapping for Zizek. Peterson. Okay. So it seemed like a very even-handed crowd. You know, it was a good debate. I mean, at first I was kind of like, oh, it's nice that they're so nice to each other. It's like refreshing for once. And at the end, when I like really got to thinking about it, like juxtaposed to Peterson's other performances, and I was like, good God, dude. But, I mean, if you're really into philosophy, it's worth a watch, but it's like quad debate. It's not a good debate.
Well, again, man, I really wish I could bring some heat to the text of what Zizek just said, but I didn't understand what in the hell he was talking about, dude.
I mean, I understood. I mean, I understood like more or less what he was saying, but it's just so it's so abstract. It's not even worth. It's just not even worth going through. You know.
Yeah.
You know, when he's talking about socioeconomic, cultural exchanges, I mean, you have to like unwind so many premises and everything that he's talking about that it's not that it's difficult necessarily, but he's throwing so much at you at once that
man,
you just have to unwind all of these premises. And what are you going to do? You know, I saw Bill McKibben, who started 350.org, this environmentalist organization. He was in a debate with Alex Epstein one time, and Bill McKibben opened his constructive with like 17 points. He was like, point 1, the oceans are becoming more acidic, blah, blah, blah. Point 2, shellfish their shells are becoming thinner, according to a research study, blah, blah, blah. Point 3, and he tried to do this like very point 1, point 2, point 3, and Alex just sort of brushed all 17 points aside and was like, okay, let's talk about the one premise in all of that. Is modern civilization worth it? You know?
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson could have done that with everything Zizek just said without having to go into detail. There was a dear listener that asked us at one point, actually. They were like, oh, we need some like good solid arguments about like how to fight environmentalism. And we said like, yeah, we can give you some, but that's not gonna really help you move the needle forward. Like, you need to address premises. And this is how Zizek got away with this, is that Jordan Peterson just is not addressing premises. He's agreeing to all the premises, actually.
Right. Yeah, man. And, you know, Zizek is talking about this socioeconomic cultural exchange. And then a couple sentences later, he's talking about Protestant birth rate as it relates to capitalism. But really, it's a corruption of...
Yeah,
it's a corruption by capitalism. Like, it's like, good God, man.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
It's like, make a what is your thesis? You know, like, okay, so you're talking about how capitalism is in contradiction to Protestant ethics. I actually agree with that. But Zizek, how about you just stop and explain that? Why are they in conflict? Again, like, I agree with that. In fact, the Protestants, and especially the Puritans, like back in the early 1800s, they were the ones like pushing all of these morality laws. Like the Protestants and the Puritans were the ones, they were the ones responsible for prohibition and the illegalization of marijuana. That was the Protestants. But like Alexander de Tocqueville talked about that, the fact that like the Catholics, they were not moralists in the sense that Puritans and the Protestants, they came from like the more Victorian era, like the more Victorian
Right, right.
So they were like, no, we can't have this, we can't have that. And they were forming these associations and organizations to get things banned in New York City, and like, we need morality laws. And Alexis de Tocqueville talks about how the Puritans and the Protestants were all about that. But the Catholics, they were not moralists. They were more concerned with Catholic doctrine and following Catholic doctrine, going to church on Sunday, going through the Catholic rituals and things like this. And they were more laissez-faire. And,
yeah,
you know, I would love to hear Zizek talk about that. Like,
right.
You know, why is capitalism in conflict with, well, it's because capitalism is a system of freedom. It's not the system of religious moralism. You know, like that would have been a good point to make, but he just kind of like, you know, just sort of like barely brushes it. And then he moves on to socioeconomic cultural exchange. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, this is Zizek for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm interested enough. I'm going to watch it. Maybe not today. I might actually sit down and try to finish the Mueller report today. I don't know about that, but I'm going to finish this at some point in time this week. My interest is piqued. You know what I mean? Although, man, you did speak deleteriously about both in this performance. So maybe I won't.
Yeah, dude.
Actually,
I am a debate fanatic. I love debates. I've watched countless hours of debates, and this is one of the single worst debates in terms of intellectual discourse. One of, if not the single worst I have ever seen. And again, dear listener, I have watched for years. Russ knows this. Like, I would, for fun, just watch debates online, intellectual debates.
Yeah, it's true.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the debate format. I think it's such a good way to learn. And you hear both sides of arguments, and it challenges you to think. I think the debate format is such a good way to consume intellectual material. It's entertaining. You end up liking certain people, and then their personality comes out. The debate format is so fun. It's such a great format.
Yeah.
And I've for many years been obsessed with debates. I love it. And this was just one of the worst. It's such a bad debate. This is the one I've been more excited about than any other debate, frankly.
Right, man. Yeah. We've been waiting on this for like months, man. Months and months and months. It's too bad it came up snake eyes like this, but
snake eyes.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
All right, dude, let's call this episode, man.
Yeah, let's ride, man. Let's ride.
All right, dear listener, thank you for joining us for episode number 35, Russ. Milestone episode.
35, man. Yes, it is.
And,
yes, it is.
Good to be back, dude. We will be back at you next week with episode 36, dear listener. Russ, great episode, man. It's been fun.
Likewise, brother. Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. And, man, most of all, happy muster. Happy Easter. Let's get on the horn a little bit after we hit the stop button here, and let's talk a little bit.
Sure, man.
For a second here, real fast.
Sure, man. Sounds good.
Yeah. But dear listener, thank you so much for riding along with us. We hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did. It is, once again, I have to re-edify what Luke just said. It is so great to be back in the saddle with Luke. Everything is cool. Back at you with 36 before you know it. Thank you so much.